But can you hold the mic? Just take it off there, just for the people on YouTube.
Oh, okay,
and everybody
sure.
that's watching, then they can hear you.
Sure.
You're Dan. Dan?
Yeah.
Want me to hold it?
Oh.
Okay. I think that should work.
From here?
Larry, I'm still not getting the PowerPoint on screen. I've got, I know. It keeps going back to casting tab. I'm going to stop casting, then recast. And then when I went to sources, I did cast screen. Okay, and now, so it's not, nothing's showing up there now. Okay, yep. There we go.
Yeah,
It's up there now.
was there for,
Oh, it was there.
here we go. Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Larry.
Back up here. All right.
There we go. Good evening. My name is Dan Hoke. I'm Vice President of Business Operations and Business Development for Reading Hospitality. Reading Hospitality owns the Doubletree by Hilton Reading Hotel. And we own the off-premise catering brand of the Doubletree called Catering by Doubletree Reading. And our companies have been successful in business by building trust. Trust with the community, trust with our hotel guests, trust with our catering clients. And we're here tonight to address all of you in the community and the members of the board, asking for your trust to run the food and beverage operations at the Reading Country Club. And also the opportunity, and it's important to us, to create a community hub for the residents of Exeter Township by revitalizing Reading Country Club. So we create trust as a company to do our business and to be successful. And we hope to do that at the Reading Country Club to make it, once again, the premier event venue of the region, to revitalize it as such. We hope to create trust to be able to drive golf memberships in a partnership with the Reading Country Club. And we hope to create trust to be able to see that Reading Country Club is once again profitable and sustainable to the taxpayers of Exeter Township. But no success because of trust can be told without speaking first of Albert Boskov. And Albert was bold enough to build a hotel in downtown Reading for $67 million with the hope of building the trust of a community to transform a community that was once the second most impoverished in the country, the second most highest crime rate. And he had a dream to build it. And our company takes on, Reading Hospitality Management takes on one of Albert's tenets for its success in his department store business. And it's very simple. It's to do what you do so well that they'll come back. To do what you do so well that they'll come back and tell their friends. To do what you do so well that you'll engage and move a community forward. So Albert Boskov realized he had a big task in front of him to transform a community. And Albert Boskov sought out the help of Craig Poole. Craig's here with us tonight. Craig is the president of Reading Hospitality. Many of you know Craig and his reputation for building trust in the community and the success we've achieved at the Doubletree Hotel. Craig comes to us having a wealth of experience as a successful restaurateur and a successful hotelier. Craig was vice president of food and beverage for Holiday Inn. Craig is a successful restaurateur in his own right, having created one of the top 100 jazz clubs in one of the poorest sections of Pittsburgh called James Street. Craig also, you might know, turned around the Crown Plaza, taking it from the 173rd hotel with no investment in capital, but investment in culture and community, to being the number 7 hotel in the entire brand in the United States. Craig has spent a lifetime recovering businesses, turning bankrupt hotels and restaurants around to profitability by connecting with hospitality and connecting with the community. So his success formula, the success formula that he brings to Reading Hospitality, to our hotel, to our off-premise catering company is simple. His simple formula: engage guests, build a world-class hospitality around what guests' needs are, what their pains are, be successful doing that, and build their trust and build the business. Engage the community, hire within the community, worry about the development of his employees, worry about the development of the businesses in the community, and to support the causes in the community by offering a world-class experience in his hotel to move their organizations forward. So we're experts at building trust. We're experts at humanizing profit and building that trust to make long-term success, long-term profit. And that's what we're in the game here to do at the Reading Country Club. This isn't a quick money grab. This is something that we're interested in bringing a community back, a community facility, a community hub back to Exeter Township. That's what excites us about the project. The money will happen. The money will happen for the township and for us, a modest profit. We're a for-profit business. Craig's hard work and leadership in Reading hospitality has led us to be #1 out of 350 properties in downtown Reading, #1 in the DoubleTree brand. We are a 3-time Connie Award-winning company. That means Hilton's most highest honor for a hotel in all their brands has bestowed it on us 3 times over the first 5-year period of our operation. Unheard of, unprecedented. With that, we've had tremendous growth and success and profitability. And we intend to apply that system of trust in building community to grow prosperity and grow wealth for the township and the community of Exeter. And with that opportunity comes growth. In 2020, Reading Hospitality Management, through Craig's leadership, negotiated the acquisition of Boscov's Catering. And we're fortunate to have their president and their founder, the man who made Boscov what it was with us this evening, Steve Bonner. Steve, a restaurateur in his own right, running the Greenery restaurants for Albert Boscov, started Boscov's Catering, and he came on board with us to turn our catering company, Catering by DoubleTree, into a Hilton brand standard catering company. And Steve with us tonight is happy to answer any of your questions as well. And Steve, I'm going to read a little bit about, Chef Carlos.
Should I do a point of order?
Chef Carlos we brought on because we realized our growth and the opportunity for future business, and we needed to increase our expertise in what we did. And I'm going to read this because his curriculum vitae is long. Sorry. I'm also a wanderer. Chef Carlos was recruited by Reading Hospitality. He's a renowned and world-traveled chef. He leads, coaches, and trains our team of over 20-plus culinary professionals. Since 1987, Carlos has created culinary magic for millions of thrilled guests all over the world, serving presidents, dignitaries, brides, grooms, corporations, and nonprofit groups in France, London, Sweden, Sri Lanka, Puerto Rico, Trinidad, and Tobago, Baltimore, and New York City. In addition, the chef has directed the culinary teams of many renowned large-scale organizations, including the Waldorf Astoria Hotels and Resorts, Hilton Hotels, Marriott International, and Hilton Resort. These are the characters and the caliber of people that we would like to bring to help revitalize events at the Reading Country Club, revitalize membership, and revitalize the restaurant. In a very short period of time, Chef Carlos and Steve Bonner have earned an exceptional reputation. An exceptional reputation in our community that's earned us the trust of businesses that do special events in the industry. The Goggle Works. We've secured an exclusive contract and their trust to do their events. And we're on a preferred list of catering facilities and trusted by catering facilities throughout the region, including Burke's Nature, Iron Spire, Stony One Winery, the Barn at Flying Hills, Burn Farm, Reinhardt's Barn Weddings, Care and Treatment Centers, Penske at Green Hills, Cedar Hill Farm, the President's House at Alverny University, and so many other facilities and so many other homes across your township and throughout the region. So what's our plan? What is our plan? We're all here tonight to hear about the plan. Hopefully you've had an opportunity to see what was posted online about what we have in store, and we're willing to take questions on that. But our plan is to simply use the formula that's made Albert and has made our hotel successful. To engage guests, to engage the community, to build trust and long-term revenue. And we're going to, hopefully, with that formula, we'll drive special events to the hotel. I'll get into that a little bit, what special events might mean. To create community events so the community of Exeter can come out and enjoy the property of the country club, and enjoy the amenities of food and beverage and everything else the country club has to offer. We hope that by building trust, we can support golf membership and elevate it beyond what it ever used to be. And we hope eventually that we'll see the restaurant reopen, and we can build the trust of the community in order to do that for the citizens of Exeter Township. So what are we doing right now? Before a contract is even inked, we're hiring. Our Margaret Morgan, our Director of Catering, she's not with us tonight, she's away on vacation. But Margaret has appointed Madison Arders as our off-premise sales manager. Madison will be a dedicated salesperson at the Reading Country Club, making sure she understands how events are executed, how they best can be sold, and she's here on our behalf to ensure the success of sales at the Reading Country Club. With us tonight is Kyle Allison. Kyle has a unique title. He's a facility relationship manager. Kyle works at all sorts of properties of ours throughout the region, ensuring that we're listening to the guests that are there. We're at standing with guests and understanding what their needs are. We're sitting with our facilities and understanding how that we can help them make successful. So he's got this unique role, facility relationship manager. You'll get to see Kyle, hopefully a lot, at the Reading Country Club as we understand what the community wants as this property comes back on board. And of course, we're working on signature menus, specifically for the community of Reading Country Club. We could just drop in any catering menu. We really want to make this a township-oriented constituent club where the food is what they want and the signature items that we have there are what they've asked for. So our chef's already working on country club menus, and you'll see some of that in the near future. We've hired event managers. Our event managers are underneath Miss Arders, and that they're the ones and the professionals that execute the events at Reading Country Club. They know the ins and the outs and the understanding of how to unlock the place to how to lock up at the end of the night and what it takes to run a flawless event and build the trust of the people that are coming to events at the Reading Country Club. So we're hiring managers to do that. And we are hiring trained personnel, trained service staff. And training is important. So many caterers use third-party staffing agencies. The people that will be in the Reading Country Club will be our employees working there. Employees from the community, working and trained the Hilton brand standard of catering for Catering by Doubletree. We'll be holding a hiring event very shortly if we're so fortunate to receive the approval this evening. A hiring event at the country club to bring residents out, and whoever needs employment, we're going to be looking to see whether they fit and what they can offer the citizens of Reading and the citizens of Exeter Township. We're looking to hire professional service staff. So what kind of events do we hope to drive to? And we'll get to the how in a moment, but we hope to drive what we're calling special events. We believe one of the things that will bring us back quickly at the Reading Country Club is weddings. It's a beautiful ballroom, stunning, and we're going to bring it back. And we hope that we'll see a lot of weddings there. In fact, we're sure it's going to be the majority of business probably in that upstairs ballroom. What follows with that? Rehearsal dinners, corporate meetings and gatherings, reunions, birthday parties, anniversaries, monthly organization meetings, all breathing life back in and revenue back into the coffers of Exeter Township. What we're really excited about is community events and creating a community hub and experience for the community to once again join and use the property, and creating things like theme nights, an 80s night, for example, holiday celebrations, catering Easter, Thanksgiving, Mother's Day, concerts. If you know the Doubletree, if you know Craig Poole, we support the arts. We intend to support the arts in this community too as well by holding concerts, bringing in opportunities for local artists to be able to show what they do as well, just like we do in our hotel. Brunches are an important part of country club culture, and we're not going to fail there either. We hope to be holding periodic Sunday brunches and seeing what the interest of the community is in this type of event, and we'll build off of that, building off experience, building up revenue. And then special buffet nights. A nice seafood buffet on Friday night where the community could come out and enjoy camaraderie and gathering and enjoy a really nice event, a really nice evening. Get dressed up to go to the club, so to speak. So here's the how, right? So we're going to build all this trust, but how are we going to do it? It's done a couple different ways, and I've listed them out here. Marketing is critical. Doubletree has a full-time dedicated professional on marketing in-house by the name of Gamin Nieves. And we have pledged in the contract to create a dedicated web space for the Reading Country Club, to produce digital and print media in-house that we can produce all the time to promote what's going on there. We are promising to have a strong social media presence, advertising what's happening with both the events and the culture and the community at the Reading Country Club. And then we'll be holding periodic open houses. Open houses where potential brides and grooms, potential people that want to book an event there can come through and see what it's all about. And we'll be showing off food and beverage and our hospitality. That kind of marketing is what we're pledging. We're uniquely positioned as a hotel to drive business, to build trust, because we're a corporate hotel. And as a corporate hotel, we turn away a lot of social business because our corporate meetings and our association business is often 2, 3, 4, 5 days a week, blocking out opportunities for social events to happen at our hotel. We will be able to now take that business, take that inquiry, and drive them to properties at the Reading Country Club. Pop-up restaurants are another opportunity for us to use the in-house corporate clients that are staying with us. They stay and they cater with us in the building, but they also have a need to go out because they're there multiple days with us. And instead of going off to another restaurant experience or somewhere else, we hope to create a great experience, a pop-up restaurant throughout the week for certain companies that are interested at the Reading Country Club, a pop-up restaurant, if you will. And we have the ability to do it. We have the long-term relationships over the last 7 years with such great companies as East Penn Manufacturing and Penske. They'll be the first we ask to come support Reading Country Club and see if we can create a great experience for them. Corporate golf outings, the same philosophy is there. We have the ability to sell corporate golf outings in-house for our corporations in-house and transport them to Reading Country Club. We own 3 vans to do it. We'd be willing to buy more if the need be. Right now we have the ability to move 45 people at one time over from the hotel to have an experience at Reading Country Club. We're going to drive sales through trust and establish trust in Craig Poole. It's often said Craig is one of our best salespeople because he makes it a point to connect with every person, no matter who they are, that walks in the building and engage them, just like he will. And he's built trust doing that and business doing that for us, just like he will at the Reading Country Club. And we have an established trust to drive sales just because of the brand of who we are, Hilton and the DoubleTree brand. One area we hope to do, that we have pledged to do by contract, is that we hope to bring community in by offering that special feeling that they are a member by offering discounts to residents on food and events at the country club. Discounts not offered to people outside of the township. So I'm happy to take questions on that. We're excited about developing special menus for that and special experiences that would be discounted for residents of the township. And then the restaurant. So there's a lot of chatter about what about the restaurant, what's going on with the restaurant. And we'll address that tonight. The restaurant, just by virtually opening it, and we do understand and acknowledge the importance of opening the restaurant. By opening the restaurant, just that, by doing that in itself, we hope to drive revenue, the understanding of events, and the experience and desire to have events at the hotel, at Reading Country Club, just by virtually opening the restaurant and creating further interest in Reading Country Club. But there's a lot to do with the restaurant. We've been through this restaurant, I don't know how many times, 2, 3 times now, on the first floor especially. It's been sitting dormant for 5 years, and a lot of things happen to a restaurant that just sits dormant. You don't know whether you're going to turn the gas on and there's going to be gas. You don't know to turn the gas on and you're going to be blown up. You don't know what's going to happen. The layer of grease that needs to be peeled back, the equipment that needs to be tested, the floors that need to be repaired. There's things that have to happen to open this restaurant up that just aren't going to happen overnight. And then there's a need to understand really what the community wants in a restaurant. We believe that it would be a mistake to just plug in any entity with their themed restaurant in the location without understanding what the community residents desire. What is the food and the experience that they're looking for? What's going to work? The township can't stand another failure of a restaurant at the location. So we're going to ease into the restaurant. We're going to listen to what the guests want. We're going to work with the township to look after the restoration of the first floor space. And then we have a hope that the restaurant will be open by mid-2024. It need not be by us. There's nothing in this agreement that prevents the township from bringing in another company or another organization to run the restaurant. We are the concessionaire, the management company, to produce special events and community events at the Reading Country Club. That does not stop the restaurant from moving forward in any way. Supporting golf membership is important to us. Not because we have a former golf addict among us in Craig Poole, but because it's an opportunity for revenue growth that goes beyond just having events at the property. Having events in the property is just one area of revenue the township can have the reward. Supporting the golf membership is important to us for a lot of reasons. Obviously, we'll be able to do catering. That's the obvious. We as a company will make money on catering. But by revitalizing events and creating this community that I'm talking about, we believe that naturally membership and interest in membership will be increased. And with that comes increasing greens fees and profitability. We hope to elevate the level of food and beverage by being at the Reading Country Club through our catering company, and in turn elevate the number of great outings that happen for golf and supporting membership in that fashion. And we pledged in the contract to support the snack shack. We are not in a position, we are not interested in running the snack shack. It's already running. It's already taking good care of the golfers that are there. But we're interested in supporting them. And we're interested in letting them utilize our ordering processes through our large vendors so they can get the product in, they can get new product in, and they can get it in cheaply and be more profitable. We're not taking revenue out of the snack shop. And cross-promotion. Cross-promotion is one of the most important things we can do to support golf membership. And that means simply taking any promotion that they're doing for golf and putting it out over our social channels and promoting golf at the Reading Country Club in any way that the operators of golf would like. So they'll present us with a campaign, and we're happy to put our name on it with them if they'd like, and to put it out there and use our channels and use our leverage to be able to increase awareness and hopefully membership in the golf club. So I put together something quick, a quick rack-up rather, of the value that we believe Reading Hospitality Management brings to the Reading Country Club. Trust and reputation, we've talked about it, we bring that. Award-winning Hilton brand service, we have it, we would like to bring it to your property. World-class culinary team and cuisine, and Chef Carlos Gomez. He's yours if you'll have him. We're willing to invest in a sales team, a sales manager, $60,000 to $70,000 a year to pay a sales manager to come in and be able to produce events and do the sales correctly in a way that will build business at the Reading Country Club. Marketing, we estimate marketing average, once we're up and running, to be around $50,000 to $60,000 investment on our part in the marketing arm of getting awareness out of and promoting and marketing the Reading Country Club. Liquor management. Liquor management is a big piece. Being very efficient and very precise in how we sell liquor and how we inventory and guard liquor has made us very successful in the sale of liquor at the hotel. And we plan to bring the same systems and the same person over to do that at the Reading Country Club. It's about a $40,000 estimate in cost of what we'll invest in liquor management. And I just want to make a little bit of clarification. There's a memorandum that accompanied, because I've listened to a little bit of the chatter on social media. There's a little bit of a misunderstanding in who will be responsible for paying for the liquor. As the manager, as the management company for the Reading Country Club, we will do everything short of actually paying for the liquor. That means inventorying it, managing it, ordering to deliver, making sure the needs are met, except we can't pay for it. It's not how a legal agreement works for us with the Pennsylvania LCB. So the country club will pay for the liquor, and we'll do everything else, including arranging the amounts and the delivery to the Reading Country Club. And beyond that are the people you don't see, the 20-plus people that support our catering company, the behind-the-scenes folks, the people that pack and unpack trucks, the prep cooks that spend their week prepping for the weekend's events, and the dishwashers who are there late at night unpacking trucks and washing the dishes to make sure we're ready for the next event and ready to deliver world-class customer service. We believe we deliver to Exeter the value of consistency, something obviously has been lacking at the property. And we believe that we offer an opportunity to transform what the Reading Country Club is now into something greater in the future by transforming it into a community-involved space. We look for long-term growth of the club, not a short-term money grab. We look at the opportunity for Exeter to begin generating revenue with relatively low startup costs. What we've asked is for a clean kitchen. That's it. And to come in and execute events to be able to start generating revenue that's long been missing at the club. Immediate revenue. We bring the value of growth of membership as I described, and we bring in the future of restaurant revenue. So we bring in event revenue, golf membership revenue, and we bring in restaurant revenue. We believe we will deliver on those values. We bring in job opportunities. Talk a little bit about a job fair. We'd like to have Exeter residents working for us at the Reading Country Club. And we bring in the value of perhaps creating something that can generate enough money to control some taxes. Perhaps we generate enough revenue where and an interest in a great community club and an organization, the house values go up because people want to be part of a communication, part of it. Pie in the sky thinking? Maybe, but Albert Boskov planted a $67 million hotel in downtown Reading with the hope of changing the community, and we do too. One of the things that we believe we deliver in the way of trust is that if this deal doesn't work out for us or for the township, we put in what we call in every year to sit down at the table and negotiate. A clause that allows us to say this isn't working or this is working. We're not making enough or you are making too much. Whatever the conversation may be, we are a transparent company. We're willing to sit down yearly and negotiate the terms of that contract. But built into that contract, no matter what, is a right to terminate. If this is not good business for the township, the termination clause in the contract allows you to walk away from it. It also allows us to walk away from it too. We want to be in business to move a community and develop a property for the success of the community. If it's not working, we'll bow out because we've failed. We'd be happy to do it. So the revenue model is fairly simple. We've been looking at a percentage revenue model. We do all the sales, we add the value, we execute, and 25% of the sales that we generate, 25% of that revenue goes to the township, the people of Exeter. The expenses that the township will take on are liquor costs. They'll take on utilities and they'll take on the maintenance of the property. Outside of that, that 25% is the revenue that will come to the township and township residents. So we put together some projections. These are assumptions. One thing we have to consider when we look at numbers is this is a property that's been closed for 5 years. There's no way to know how the community is going to respond to this. We think it's going to be fantastic, by the way. The chatter we've heard is everyone's excited to get the property open. More so than having us involved is getting the property open, and that's what we're excited about. So these are assumptions. These are assumptions based on Steve Bonner's experience, Craig Poole's experience, Madison Arter's experience, Kyle's experience, and my experience in working with event spaces throughout the region. So 2023 will be a difficult year. There's no lie about that. We need to build trust, and it'll take us an entire year for people to come in and be confident that the events are going to be great, and confident that the place will be put together right, to have the trust of having an event there. We hope it's a lot more, but we went into these numbers very conservatively all across the board here. In 2024, as I said before, we believe that weddings will take off to the tune of almost $1 million worth of revenue. Community events, golf outings, midweek social and corporate, and themed events all kicking in to produce approximately $1.172 million in revenue, of which the Reading Country Club will receive 25%, $293,000 in year 2024. One thing that we hope happens during that time, and we're confident that it happens, is golf membership will increase, and revenue from that for the township will increase. The other thing that we hope happens in 2024, and we're going to see to that that it does to the best of our ability, is to open that restaurant and increase revenue from the restaurant to the citizens of Exeter Township. And as we move forward into 2025, we just see that trust growing. In year 2025, 1.5 million. In 2026, 1.698 million, 1.7 million. 2027, 1.9 million. 2028, we hope that the total year's revenue would be about $2 million, giving 25% of that being 500 or half a million dollars, $500,000 of revenue to the Reading Country Club. All the while growing membership, reputation, raising membership rates, meaning raising the number of memberships, raising golf fees, raising menu prices in a restaurant for delivering a great hospitality experience across the board. So our 6-year projections are here. The projection is, as I said, 8.7 million. And 6 years commission to the township of 2.192 million. And that's how we see it. An opportunity to grow a community by you giving us the opportunity to build trust. And we'll take questions at this time.
I appreciate the offer to take questions. Several people have signed up for questions.
Okay.
So what I'd like to do, just following the agenda here, is have the public comment on the agenda items. And because of the significant interest this evening, I'm going to ask everyone to complete its public comment, your 3 minutes or less, but your 3 minutes of public comment. And then anyone that has RCC down as their topic, and there's an open question, perhaps it's just a comment, then it's not required. But if there's a question, I'll refer it for any response you have. So lastly, when we get to RCC on the agenda, the board no doubt will have questions. But we're going to do those later. Public comment I'd like to carry on because we have so much of it. So
I'd like to ask a clarifying question, if I may.
Yeah.
Right here.
would you not be able to, pardon me, would you not be able to do that when we're all going around the table doing that?
Well, I'd like to ask who is RHM? Is Hilton owned by you? Are you just buying a DBA using Hilton's name? I mean, how does that work? Who really, do you own the DoubleTree? Does Hilton own the DoubleTree? Are you just paying to use their name? I don't understand how this works here.
I can answer that. My name's Craig Poole, and the answer to that question is Reading Hospitality Management is a company that we formed through our city Reading and the Boskoff family
Right.
to own and operate the DoubleTree.
Okay.
And the DoubleTree is we're the management company that runs the DoubleTree as well. So Reading Hospitality Management LLC is the owner of Reading Hospitality Management.
Okay.
And Reading Hospitality Management owns and operates the DoubleTree.
Okay, so you pay the DoubleTree organization to be allowed to use their DBA?
No, we
Well,
don't,
you say you do business as DoubleTree.
right. It's just the name, the legal name, so we could be the management company, own and operate the
Right, so
the
like their
hotel.
trademark, you get to use their trademark name, and same thing with the Hilton. I mean, you're not owned by Hilton.
No.
Hilton doesn't derive any revenue from this deal, right?
From this deal, none.
Or from even the DoubleTree, do they, unless it's commissions of some
They get
sort?
Hilton gets a franchise fee off the rooms,
Okay, all right.
right?
Right, so you're just a local LLC is what you are, created by
Basically, right.
Mr. Boskov.
Right,
Okay,
right.
all right, thank you.
So we're going to continue with public comment at this time on agenda items. First, I have Mr. Robert Miller, if you could approach. And as I mentioned earlier, please state your name and address. This is for everybody this evening. Kindly complete the entirety of your remarks, and I'll refer any questions for any comment that the guest would like to give. Thank you for kicking us off, sir.
Thank you. My name is Robert H. Miller Jr. I live at 4012 Grant Street. My comment is reflective to the Reading Country Club. Since the Reading Country Club is an enterprise fund, it is against the law to supplement it with taxpayer funds. Therefore, the taxpayers expect the township to manage the club and ensure at least it breaks even or returns funds back to the township. To date, the RRC has cost the taxpayers millions of dollars. I reviewed both proposals, Brown Gulf and your presentation you just heard, and I found the Brown proposal to be far superior, which includes the operation of the entire facility. Therefore, it is my opinion that the decision be delayed until a majority of the voters can weigh in, because the decision has a long-reaching impact way beyond the next election in 2023. The decision must be made tonight. If it must be made tonight, I recommend the contract be for 1 year period of time so that in 2023, the board will truly represent the will of the people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Miller.
I'd just like to comment on Mr. Miller's comment.
The chair does not recognize Mr. Hughes.
He mentioned the enterprise fund, and I don't think people understand what an enterprise fund is.
You're out of order. The chair did not recognize you. Next, the chair would like to recognize Fred Whitehawk.
Fred Whitehawk, West 47th Street. I have reviewed the RCC Food and Beverage and Concessionaire Agreement between Exeter Township and Reading Hospitality. As Township Auditor, I must ask you, our Board of Supervisors, to table the discussion and approval on our agreement with Reading Hospitality LLC, since our township residents should have their opinions considered before you proceed with any vote either for or against this proposal. Exeter will be responsible for purchasing all liquor and its delivery. I heard a little conflict there when Mr. Hope was going over that. I'd like to get that straightened out. Will someone from the township oversee the process, or are we just to assume we do not need any oversight? Exeter has received 25% of all gross sales from the catering operations. Exeter will pay RHLLC any residual funds for all costs of operation and concession fees. I saw this in the contract that was there. Exeter is responsible for all furniture and fixtures, equipment, and cleaning of said items. Exeter is responsible for water, gas, sewer, and electricity and security. There are conflicting statements in the agreement regarding trash and recycling removal. The Brown Golf proposal was originally discussed and tabled on June 22nd, and Mr. Gardella said we owed it to the Brown Golf to respond. On July 11th, Supervisor Volmer motioned that it should be denied, and Supervisor Kircher seconded that motion. Subsequently, it was approved to deny Brown Gold by the Board of Supervisors by the 4-1 vote. On July 23rd, Betsy, our township manager, told her Reading Eagle Mr. Gardella had told her that supervisors had reached out to Brown Golf at some point before the vote. The Reading Eagle tried to contact Ted Gardella, and they received no response. Today I spoke with Patrick J. Politan, Director of Management at Brown Golf, and as of this date, the only supervisor who has spoken with him is David Hughes, twice. I also spoke with the GM of the Greensburg Country Club, Mr. Bradley Ludek, and he said Brown Golf was instrumental in determining and helping with the banquet restaurant budgeting process. What are we going to do, folks? We're not getting any answers. Everything has been behind closed doors. That's why these people are here tonight. As Township Auditor, I'm asking you to give us an answer. Thank you.
Next, I have Barbara. If you would support me with your last name, I would be obliged.
Sure.
So,
Hello, everybody. My name is Barbara Lambriotis. I live on 7A Sycamore Drive. Okay, and the reason I'm here is because of taxpayer money, okay? I have spoken to Mr. David Hughes, and what I got from all this is that Brown Gulf Associates are going to get $6,000 a month, 75% of their profit goes to Exeter Township from Brown Gulf Associates, okay? And Brown Gulf only gets 25%. With Reading Hospitality, the way I see it, or the way it was explained to me, they get 75%, and Exeter Township only gets 25%. I am very, very upset about the way our tax money is being handled. I have a 93-year-old mother-in-law that has to move into my house because we are not responsible with the money that is being brought in by our taxes. It's just wasteful. It's horrible. And we have to do something about it. You people, we elect you, you do something. You know what? All our young people right now, at some time, are going to get old. So you know what? We don't have a money tree. We don't have a toilet that we can go poop money in. So you know what? What I say to you is be very careful with the tax money. That's what I'm here for. Be very, very careful. That's my grief. That's it.
Thank you. Next, Jack Pyho.
Long way around. Any comments? Any questions? Thank you, George. As usual, I have a a printed handout which Betsy has, and I did hand a couple to the RH fellows up here. Thank you very much. First off, thank you for the presentation. Very good, nice marketing presentation. I do have several comments. I'm going to keep it brief because I know from a time end is generation of the catering revenue. Okay, I have a concern with that. Is if I was doing a business plan in my business, there would be some meat to that, explaining how those numbers were arrived at. I'm not disagreeing with them, I just would love to know more about it. And as I said, I'm going to be brief. I'm going to zip down through here for a couple of major points. Is I'm assuming the RH, the Reading Hospitality LLC, reviewed the proposed agreement from our attorney because with the presentation that was done here, there were some comments that were made that I did not think that you were aware of. One of the things that kind of boggled my mind was the RH is going to have to obtain a key to access the property each time 24 hours in advance. I have no idea how you're going to do business if you got to get a key 24 hours in advance every time you're going to come on. Was there any thought to the fee structure for Exeter community events? Will the residents be forced to pay maximum and minimum? Okay, again, some meat. Golf outings and tournaments will end by 2 p.m. I'm not sure where that time came from, but 2 p.m. to me is unrealistic. The first floor restaurant, with the presentation, you alluded to the restaurant. Exeter wants to do a separate contract based upon the contract language that I read. RH does have first option, but why the restriction? I'm not sure why that was carved out at this time. Let's see. The bank accounts, Exeter bank account for the RCC is, this is more for the BOS. If somebody's going to be looking at this, who in the township is going to be reviewing the books and discussing it with RH. Annual review is okay, but I would suggest a formal review quarterly, at least in the first year. There is no negotiation that I read in the contract for continuing annually. The contract, the way it's proposed, is it can be terminated at any time with a 3-month buyout by either party. How you would determine who is a resident and a non-resident for a community event, I don't want to be the person to be checking IDs, I can tell you that. And the last thing is sales and marketing. Hopefully the digital signage, there'll be multiple along 422, because nobody even knows that we're here unless you're going westbound on 422 and you see Reading Country Club. So hopefully there'll be some thought to that. That's it for me, and I should have mentioned in the beginning, even though it's on here, I am Jack Pyhu, 114 Valley Drive, Birdsboro. Thank you, everybody.
Jack, we're going to have to refer some of those responses, but if you wanted to react to a few of them
Yeah.
right now,
I'm happy to speak to it. And I thank you, Jack, for your thoughtful review of the contract and concern Sarah about the relationship that we'll have, hopefully, with the Reading Country Club. Who generated catering revenue? Our projections for catering revenue are based on my experience over 20 years in the special event industry with a company by the name of Festivities Events out of Philadelphia, working with over 60 different properties as exclusive or preferred caterer, understanding their fee structures and what the market can demand. The same with Steve Bonner. Steve's worked in just about every property I have in the Philadelphia region and all throughout Berks County, and understands what revenue they generate, how they do it, what fees they charge. So we used an amalgam of information to be able to calculate what we think will be reasonable projections for the amount of revenue that we can generate at a club of this caliber and a club of this size. That was the thought that was put into it. A key, yeah, it'll be a challenge. I think when it was built in there so that there would be a modicum of trust. So we'd be willing to have to check out a key, but I think when the trust level is built with us, as it will be, we'll be able to have our own key to get in and out. It'll be under the terms of the township and what they dictate and what they're comfortable with, not us. We just want there to be a check and balance, a transparency of who's coming and going at the property and how business is being done. It'll be up to the township whether or not they want to give us a key or to continue to have a checkout process with a key and access to the property. Golf outings, 2 p.m. We met with Connor, who runs the golf outings. We sought out his advice as a pro on what golf outings are happening and have happened, his experience at the Reading Country Club. We sought out that information. And what we understand is we would like to be in a position where we can have a golf outing and they can generate revenue from a golf outing the same day as maybe we have a bride walking down the aisle that evening. To be able to have two events happening, and fortunately, we'll be fortunate enough to have it, I'm sure, a golf outing and a social event or something happening in the evening. So no bride's going to want to see some people coming up the 18th fairway in a golf cart when she's getting her pictures taken. So we have to find a balance here. And we're going to work with the country club and work to look at the best revenue opportunities and to yield the best revenue by kind of working around golf outing timing and the timing of events. Connor gave us the advice of 2 p.m. that he thought that most golf outings would rack by then. And then weddings and evening social events happening by 5 or 6 o'clock start time approximately, giving 3 hours for people to clear out the property, reset a space, and do the like. That's where that 2 o'clock comes from. That's our hope, to be able to have that deadline, to be able to have multiple events at the property. Oh, let's see, what else can I answer?
I think try to explain the building like a museum or I inspire. I think people think change is hard, change is good.
Yeah, yeah.
They see it as what it was, not what it could be,
Right.
and not where we're at to begin with. Where
Right. What Craig is talking about is an expression we use in our hotel that guides our success. When we're kind of doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, it's not going to happen. So we have a policy and a saying called change is hard, change is good. Change is hard for things that kind of were and once were and operated a certain way in the past. But change is good because we'll never get to the future, we'll never get to increase revenue, we'll never get to increase community involvement and success without making some hard choices about what we did in the past. We need to make change to move forward in the future. And that's what we're looking to do here. The citizens of the township deserve a company that knows how to yield the most revenue out of a particular venue. And to work with the golf operations to do that is what we're talking about here. What else can I answer in here? I'm more than happy to, I don't know where it's seated. I'm more than happy to walk through this with you later, if you'd like, outside and go through some of these points with you specifically.
I would love to.
You put some great work into this and appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks. And next I have Mary Beth Gardella. If you could state your name and address as well, please.
I'm Mary Beth Gardella, 218 Pennsylvania Avenue, and I'm here tonight to comment actually on the new policies that are to be voted on during this meeting, as well as behavior that I witnessed at the August 8th meeting. And I hope that these policies on harassment are passed and then strongly enforced, and that all supervisors as well as employees have proper training. I find it shocking that, this township doesn't have any policies, and we're running a township with employees, both male and female, and that we don't have anything like this in place. So I'm glad to see this. And it all comes down to, last week when Mr. Bruger was speaking, and I found it disheartening to hear how he was questioned by Mr. Hughes. I thought that the questioning was designed to humiliate him in front of the board, the people attending the meeting, and the public in general. There are ways to ask serious and tough questions without condescension and contempt. I thought Mr. Brugo handled himself professionally, and I know he's not here tonight, so I hope that he'll hear this later, that someone from the township offices will relay my impressions of that episode to him. In addition, when Mr. Bell announced that Jennifer Kaufman was going to give a summary report for Parks and Recreation, Mr. Hughes immediately got up and left. He did not ask for a recess, and you can see in the video that he's walking in the halls and then came back carrying his business cards.
I had to go to the bathroom.
A recess. You could say, excuse me, can I have a recess? It's just common courtesy.
Wasn't necessary.
Why? Because she was a woman?
No.
Because why was her report not important? That's my question.
I love it that you're attacking me. Just keep it up. Just keep it up.
Well, okay, well, I'll keep going then. Because at the end of the meeting, during public comment, Connie Aldridge came up to make a comment, and Mr. Hughes turned his chair and would not look at her. And it's not like that we haven't seen this trend before. We all watched when Mr. Gaultier and Mr. Staub and Mr. Spies treated Michelle Kirshner horribly, horribly, and nobody said anything. And we have Mr. Quinter on the school board who does the same thing, and mostly curious to women commenters as well. This is a disgusting display of sexism, and for those who support this boorish and petulant behavior, you're just continuing this conduct against the women of our township and the female employees. And I hope that these new policies that the board is putting in place will be addressed and adopted tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I have Celeste, I believe it might be Wardowski, if you could feel free to correct
It's
me.
the Irish spelling, Twardowski.
Twardowski, my apologies, thank you for that.
You're welcome. I feel like I'm back in junior high after hearing that, with the petulant children and that I had to deal with. I live at 1 Sycamore Drive. By the way, I knew Al Boskov. He was the partner in my husband's and my, we had a mom and pop charity where we got toys and clothing for homeless veterans. So I knew him personally, and he was always behind the scenes for us. And we always wanted to give him some kind of credit. And Al said, I'll just be your Jewish Santa. So He was a great guy, and I admire what he did down in Reading. That's fabulous. I have to say, I don't really have a problem with DoubleTree per se. My concern is that you folks have deep pockets, I understand that, and anytime somebody has a business, you put into it and you get out, right? You invest in it and you get back. And I just think there's an inordinate burden upon taxpayers. And I just think it's ridiculous that we would be paying for gas and electric and this and that and recycles and so forth. It just seems inordinate to me. Now, I wondered, has anybody thought about, this property has, I'm sorry, folks up here, but it's been mismanaged for a great length of time. And what I am seeing is perhaps it would be best served to the taxpayers to simply sell it at fair market value, happily to DoubleTree or whoever would, want to cough up the fair market value. That's just a thought. And my other thought was perhaps it would be prudent to table this until the November election and allow the constituents to express their views, as we did with the whatever that was on the hill up there, crazy. I had one question. I did not hear what the gentleman in the black shirt said. You asked a question, what about, and I did not hear it. What was that?
Probably when I was suggesting that people do not know what a proprietary enterprise fund is.
I do not know. I taught school for a long time, so
dictator will
I
let
don't
me tell
know
you,
what
I'll
it
tell you
is,
what it
and
is.
I would like to know, as a taxpayer, I would personally like to know what that is. Would you please expound on that?
I would love to.
I'll ask if that, just for public comment, because we're all going to have opportunity to talk about the Reading Country Club.
Am I not allowed to know that, sir?
Well, what I'm going to do is, Betsy, could I ask Finance to refer that, we'll note her question, that question to her, so she gets the follow-up that she wishes on that? Okay, thank you.
Okay, I would also like to say, all of you, perhaps you're not aware, but who is our solicitor here? The lawyer. Oh, thank you. Mr. Schnee, is that correct?
Not this evening, I'm filling in for Mr. Schnee.
Okay, well, then you probably can't answer it. But legal, Law 101 in college, you review fiduciary duties. Fiduciary duties, in case you do not know, require a person who is in charge to advocate as a guardian the welfare of their charge, be it a child or some sort of institution, something like that. And I think there needs to be some oversight of the board regarding the fiduciary behavior going forward. I don't know if it would be some kind of oversight through the courts or somebody assigned as an oversight party, but there's been a lot of mismanagement. And I have great concerns about this process going forward. I have no problem with DoubleTree, my favorite place to stay.
Could I most kindly ask you to conclude your remarks in the next few?
That's fine, but I do want to be heard. I pay my taxes, and as she was saying, our tax dollars are going to this. We're paying for gas and so forth. DoubleTree has deep pockets, and so did Al. I know it. He was my partner in some things. So they could very well pay for the things that we are being asked to pay for. And we don't know these projected, the projected monies that would be coming in. it's subjective. We just don't, I mean, it's somewhat specious because we don't know what's going to happen with the economy. We're kind of in a downturn. We're not in a really great economic place. And the taxpayers already have a great burden. And I'm just very concerned about it. And I appreciate everything everybody's doing, and it's nice, there's a big turnout. I don't know anybody here, but, you know, I think there needs to be a take pause moment, as I used to tell my children in school who would become emotional or petulant over some nonsense. But we need to take pause, and whether that's, you know, you just have to take pause. And, pardon?
I'll talk to you later.
Oh, all right, I don't know. Anyway, thank you very much, and it was a lovely presentation, regardless of the fact I just have other concerns.
Thank you for sharing your view.
Could we have a moment to just respond to that?
Oh, yes.
By all means.
Did you want to?
No.
Well, I'd like to know why I can't respond to
Okay, I thought you were calling me
this.
back, all right.
Because you're in.
No, thank you.
I think I need to explain something. And he did a great job. But I don't think what you know, that there's a lot of kindness in this and a lot of goodwill. So you're looking at what it was Reading Country Club. When we met with the councilman people, we talked to them about a venue, just like we do with the Goggle Works, or like we do with the museum, or like we do with I Inspire, which Dan brought up, where we go into a property and we pay if it's a bride. I'm going to tell you this story because it's an important story so you understand there's no underhandedness here at all. It was all about the goodwill for Reading from the people we met with. Nobody ever had any bad intentions, but somehow it's gotten twisted that it seems like that. And it's not fair, and it's hard for me to sit here and hear that when we're also part of that. So this is what happened. The DoubleTree does real well. We have 27,000 square foot of banquet space. We were running out of banquet space. So we started looking for other places. We ran into Steve, and he had some outdoor catering, and that's what we needed to do. So we went into outdoor catering because we ran out of space in the hotel, and we were turning business away. And we didn't want to send it to Allentown, or we didn't want to send it to Lancaster, or wherever. We wanted to keep it in Berks County. That was always the goal, and keep people in Berks County and Reading working. Always the number one goal. So as we were looking to expand, we went to the museum, we went to Goggle Works, and we worked with Goggle Works, and we ended up taking over all their inside catering, and they have a little restaurant that we're going to run as part of it. Nothing to do, it's not going to be $1 million deal, it's just part of the deal. When we met with them, we talked about having a function with a wedding at Reading Country Club. And if we did, what would we pay for that? So we thought we would have the bride, we'd go to a wedding, right? And we talk to the bride, and she says she wants to go to the Reading Country Club, and then we go to the bride and say they want to go there, and it's $5,000 on a premium night, or it might be $3,000 on a shorter period, or even less on maybe a weekday or Sunday. So we were looking for rent. This is the beginning of this whole process. And you need to understand that, because this is good-hearted people. They're not doing what you think. So we looked at it as a group of people and said, it's going to be hard to sell a $5,000 function to every bride because they might turn it down. So we thought, well, let's put a percentage to this deal. That way, at least there was money flowing back to the community. And we thought there'd be the more money we could gather in gross revenue, the more 25% would go back to Reading Country Club or to the citizens of Exeter. So we know that your tax base is big. So all we were doing was try to fix this so we could get the revenue up, so you would get revenue and we would get this revitalized again. I worked as vice president of a big company. I ran a third of the country. I know what bad management looks like. I know what good management looks like. I know big companies that do things, they follow the rules and they don't care about your community. When we took over the DoubleTree, we had to have an outside management company because I wasn't approved yet through Hilton. So as soon as we ran it for a year, Hilton gave me the management contract, so I have the management contract for the DoubleTree through Reading Hospitality Management. That's how we do this. We never, and they never, said they want to take your money. Trust me. And I know some of you think they are, and why, I don't know. But I don't live in Exeter. I only cared about trying to do a deal because I like the spirit of the people. And I heard it was going to be a difficult group of people. That's why we put in 90 days out, or 1 year, because I don't want to work with people that don't want to work with us, right? I mean, I don't want to be part of something if you don't want to be part of it. But I know this. You could hire a big company to come in, but they're going to bring in people that don't care. I'll tell you that already. The chances of you winning are going to be low. I promise you that. You'll end up calling me back one day, maybe. It'll just cost you more money if you wanted us. But this is good for you. We could structure a deal where we pay, where it sounds great. We're going to give you $5,000 every time a bride goes there. And you'll think, well, that's $5,000. It is. But how many times do they get to rent it? And then you have less rent, and we thought it would fail. That's why we put together this deal, right? That's the part you didn't see. And you did ask for it. I think we might have sent it to you, but the deal is not a good deal. You know, $5,000, $3,000. It's not. It doesn't add up to get you out of debt. It costs $2 million to. Well, I've been involved in a country club business as a member mostly, and I lived on one growing up. This size, 100 acres. It used to cost $2 million to run one, a country club. That's the price. If you have a country club, it's $2 million. It's always has been, probably still today. And you might know a different number, but it's a $2 million number. We looked at numbers and we thought we could get there if we had the restaurant, if we had the catering, if we could build the membership up. That year 6, or I think year 6, we were, because we had the restaurant at $2 million a year, plus we had the catering at $2 million. It might be $5 or $6 million. We don't know. And like this lady just said wisely, nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow. But what you do know is I have 55 years of doing this for a living, pretty successful. Steve has 40-some years doing it. He has 40 years doing it. We have a lot of years of success, and we're not trying to go to anybody and rob the community or anything. We don't even need the job. We wanted to do the job to help you have the country club that you wanted, if that's your option. We thought we would be the good people to do it. That was our intent. That's the only intent we have. You can throw questions at me and try to trick me and do things. It doesn't mean anything to me. What means something to me is we have the ability to change businesses and neighborhoods. I've done it my whole life. I'd love to do it with you, but I don't want to do it if you don't want us to do it. I mean, that'd be silly. Pardon me?
Most of the people here don't want you to do it.
Well, but I understand that, but not all the people, but not all the people here represent all of Exeter either. It's what does Exeter want? Excuse me, 1 minute. What does Exeter want? That's the question. And I know you're part of it, but I think there's more voters here than there are sitting in the room.
Our main problem is not so much your company. I'm sure your company is a nice company. A lot of the people in the township are concerned because the deal was done kind of behind closed doors. We had an ongoing process that was open to everyone. You guys didn't do that. You went behind closed doors.
We didn't do anything behind closed doors.
We didn't know about anything.
Well, I didn't.
These guys did.
These guys did.
Well, I don't know who we are. I know I don't. But I'm going to tell you straight out, man. I don't do nothing behind closed doors.
We had an open process.
I wouldn't stand here and be as transparent with you right now.
We had an open process.
Yeah, I don't.
You guys didn't get
Okay.
into
Yeah,
that.
but I don't do that. Yes, ma'am.
Bottom line for me is, if we're paying for certain things, that means through our taxes, right? So our taxes are gonna go back up, right?
Well, Well, not true.
He doesn't know.
Yeah.
We're losing money. We're gonna lose over probably close to $500,000 this year. The enterprise fund, it cannot use taxpayer money. We have to pay the bills from the user fees that we charge users. Those guys will be a user. We have to charge them to cover our expenses. But they're gonna give us 25%, and then we have to pay our expenses out of that 25%. What a deal.
Are you paying them now?
Yeah, with taxpayer money, and we're not supposed to be
Yeah,
doing that.
so that's always the question is,
But
what are you spending now?
we're still gonna lose 400,000. Your
Yeah.
deal, your numbers do
Right now
not
you have
really
a,
make us profit.
listen, right now you have a vacant piece of property.
Look, if we don't take your deal, we'll lose less money next year than if we take your deal.
That's a good comment. I'm
I-
sorry.
I've been an accountant and a financial analyst for 40 years, just like you have
I'm
experience.
sorry, I can't go with that, but that's okay. Go ahead.
And I've got the numbers to prove it. So there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna carry on with the public comment if that is okay.
Good.
So, thanks for the comments. So, next I have Mr. Foy.
Good evening. Ron Foy, 205 Eagle Drive. Let me thank you guys, number one. I ran a very successful business here in Berks County, Baldwin Hardware, okay, for many years, and worked with Severin Fairman, okay, whose life story is an inspiration, right? I knew Al very well too, maybe better than you, okay, in a big business way. At the end of the day, and I was a member of Reading Country Club for 10 years. I'm currently a member of Berkshire Country Club. I'm currently a member of Reading Country Club. I don't see many members here in the room to pay their $3,000 a year for the history that we still get to experience and an unbelievably beautiful golf course and facility. At the end of the day, the idea that we'll lose more money than getting 25% off just renting a building is so ludicrous, your CPA should be taken away. At the end of the day, this golf course, and now there are good points being raised that perhaps Brown should be vetted differently, or the running of the golf course should be separate management, working in partnership with whoever's running a catering, okay, and a part of the facility. These people have not set themselves up to be golf course experts, no matter how many years you paid dues and equity buy-in. At the end of the day, they're expensive to run. But people in this room being upset for getting some money, shaking your head at $293,000, when today it's negative $293,000 or more because there's no revenue out of that facility. There's nothing coming in. There's a handful of 28 golfers, okay, that play every Tuesday and Thursday. They're members. You worry about it being elite. On Saturday, Mr. Billy Lomanchuk, who's certainly not a member, won the club championship. So it's a pretty non-egalitarian area, okay? Exeter is a pretty non-egalitarian area. That facility is there for everyone. I'm a big taxpayer like you are. We all pay an unbelievable amount of taxes. I moved back to Berks County a year ago, God knows why, okay? And my taxes are 4 times what they were in Williamsburg, Virginia, where I lived in a gated golf course community. Okay, so I mean, I get it. I got my first tax bill and an assessment a week later, okay, for it to go up on a brand new house. I don't get it. But these folks are trying to do a good job. And if you, Mr. Hughes, knew how to speak to people like people, then we could listen to your ideas because they're not all bad. You lost some empathy gene somewhere a long time ago. I don't get it. But I'm sorry that I'm emotional. But this is a good company, number one. And I gave many presentations of companies that I've run, not just one. And we never have all the data on a slideshow presentation. And you're never going to see all the data in a slideshow presentation about where monetary projections come from, et cetera, okay? And where revenue is going to be based on how many weddings of $10,000 versus $6,000 versus corporate lunches, et cetera. This community won't support a 7-day-a-week restaurant at the Reading Country Club. It'll go out of business like all the other ones do. Now, we need a 3-day-a-week restaurant, for weekend golfers and, that kind of thing, because you can get a beer and a hot dog and a cheeseburger, okay, any day that you're there. I do agree that this should be vetted properly, that the questions of this contract should be asked and answered, okay, so that the community and us as taxpayers have as much transparency as possible. But at the end of the day, you're not going to get every I dotted and T crossed about a board trying to help us get somewhere, okay, with some financial black ink instead of red ink. And you don't get to throw up a 20X to 20Y pre-pandemic, okay, as a financial analysis, and then in pandemic, and then 1 year post-pandemic. Come on. I mean, that's just not the way financial analyses are done. So, again, I appreciate it, and I appreciate your comments about things that were asked and not answered, and everybody else's emotions. But you can either ask this board to say no, and we get nothing and keep going down negatively, or you can take a trusted community partner and hope that the board will vote for them to try to use their marketing muscle, their sales muscle, and their ability to actually drive events, okay, at a place that is beautiful and venerated and needs some help. Because the fair market value for selling it is about $1 million. Okay, you're not, and it's on a floodplain, so you can't build houses. It's got limited revenue potential other than a golf course.
Mr. Floyd, I really appreciate your comments.
Sorry. Anyway, I apologize for my tone of voice, but it's very frustrating, okay, to look at people who are trying to do a profitable, empathetic thing, okay? There's nothing wrong with capitalism, okay? And kind of being looked at as like some underhanded behaviors going on. Thanks.
Next, I have Patrick Austin.
My name is Patrick Austin, and I live at 104 Nicole Drive. And I'll be honest, I didn't get a chance to read the proposals. I just heard about this recently. Hearing the little bit I'm hearing tonight, my question to the board is, if this other proposal for Brown, at least on the surface, seems to be a better deal, then why aren't we taking it? My second question would be, is there an analysis of, okay, here's why we are going with RH and the pros and cons, which is that on the website someplace? I don't know, I wasn't able to find it. And I really think the people in the community should get a chance to hear both sides and the reasons why the board is swaying one way or the other. My final question is, so we're getting 25% revenue, $293,000. Was there any kind of analysis done on, well, what are the anticipated expenses? Liquor's really expensive. Our water is outrageous. You know, everything's going to go up if you have all these events here. So how much of that $293,000 would we actually wind up receiving? Or maybe not? That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I have Donna Merritt.
Hello, my name is Donna Merritt. I'm from 51 Lowell Drive. I'm going to have to adjust some of the things I was going to say because so many of these people here have brought up so many great points. So what I'm going to start by saying is I've known David Hughes for 2 years. I've talked to him on a daily basis throughout his campaign, and I never had an issue being a woman from him. I don't know where you all are getting that, but never, ever, ever. He comes to our county meetings, and he never has a problem with a woman in the room, okay? Just putting that out there, okay? So then I'd like to say that I'm uncomfortable with the idea that 3 unelected supervisors are running our local government. It's my understanding that Mr. Hughes interviewed 2 of you, and you agreed to serve and follow the agenda and objectives that Mr. Hughes had shared all during his campaign, of which we all elected him for, okay? And as soon as you sit down on the board, you told Mr. Hughes that you played him and that he's no longer in charge and that you are. And I believe that that is just misappropriating the trust that Mr. Hughes gave deceive you, and that you're actually, if you deceived him, then you deceived us. Okay? Right, okay, so let me figure out how I'm gonna say this, because like I said, I had to redo stuff because of all the stuff that was said. I don't want to repeat myself. Okay. Their plan, they decided to subvert David's plan, which we all voted for, and sought their own plans without any public input or vote. This was nice to hear the presentation, which was great. I think the other plan, the Brown plan, should be addressed again, just like this, back to back. Information put on the website so the taxpayers can have enough time to look things over and see what they are comfortable with. No offense, you guys did a great job, but it should be back to back. Because in my estimations from looking at it, and that's just what I read, I don't understand why we would pick a contract that does not benefit all taxpayers in the Exeter Township, okay? Few Exeter Township taxpayers will see benefits from the events, okay? I don't know how many weddings I plan on going there. Most taxpayers don't golf, okay? And however, all taxpayers do eat, and most of us enjoy dining out. So a restaurant would be great, whether it's 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, or 7 days, okay? Check the numbers out, please. The Brown plan, clearly proposed by David Hughes, to me, again, this is my opinion, is a much better financial plan for all Exeter Township taxpayers. The plan covers the Reading Country Club entities, the events, the restaurant, and the golf. You can all compare the numbers. I'm not going to go through that because most of it, we just heard it today. But even I can see that the Brown plan seems better to me. The other plan basically gives away our most financial benefit entity to another company who's going to make a lot of money off it. Okay? And then, so as an Exeter taxpayer right now, I'm saying do not vote on this plan tonight. Give the community more information, back-to-back information, and put it in the public eye. Give us another month or so to check it out, and let's go from there. And if all else fails, okay, there you go. And if all else fails, I suggest that you donate the land of the Reading Country Club, part of it, to the Parks and Rec Department. Use the Reading Country Club as an administration building, expand the police station over on the other property, sell the ridiculously purchased promenade that makes Exeter Township's taxpayer lives more finances simply and more beneficial to all taxpayers and residents. And I end with this. Dear supervisors, please read the very first duty of the second-class township supervisor pamphlet, and I paraphrase, you have a fiduciary responsibility to make sound and fiscally responsible decisions for this community. And I thank you.
Thank you. Next, I have Bill Clark.
Good evening. My name is Bill Clark, 251 Shelbourne Road, Reading, PA. I will start off. I was for the Reading Country Club in 2004 when it was purchased. I live on Shelbourne. I look right across that beautiful building. If I knew how the boards would handle this property, I would like to see that clubhouse burnt to the ground and 139 homes were townhouses were supposed to be built down there. I'd better see that than what's going on for the last 22 years. It's ridiculous. And I use the term boards. All the boards were responsible. Let's start now with some of the stuff I heard today. You're saying you're going to handle the maintenance with DoubleTree Hospitality. That was one of the reasons that Chef Allen was pushed out. The manager, the township manager at the time, quote unquote, you can go back and look at it on the website. I am tired of working for Chef Allen. I work for the board. What was he currently? He was getting complaints about mold, leaky windows, leaky pipes, and he was tired. He couldn't get that done. And we're stuck with the maintenance. And this board, I think it happened this year. No, it was last year. We had to postpone some weddings because of mold in the country club building. We had to do that. And this is part of the board's responsibility in doing. That same township manager, along with the board president at the time, refused to put new pumps, sewer pumps, down at the plant. And when they went to vote on it, they had the engineer come in with a big display in November. They released it in April. I've worked in heavy industry, lots of places. You're damn lucky this township didn't kill somebody down there. Those pumps and that place was a disaster. It was accident waiting for it, but that's beside the point. What we're looking at now is we're going to take maintenance, and we're talking about, 20 Doubletree or Hospitality is going to handle the liquor. But we're going to handle the security. Are they going to remove the liquor bottles every time they have an event and move it off property? Or are we going to handle security? We're paying for the liquor, and you're going to leave it in that country club? And you're going to make sure it's guarded 24 hours a day? You know, I grew up, my neighbor, back in the 50s, 60s, sold cigars out of his truck. His garage was ransacked, robbed one night. And nobody saw it, and the car, my backyard, when I grew up, my bedroom overlooked that thing, and I didn't see anything. You tell me some people can't just walk across the property and load up whatever they have to? Unless you get security, really good security. And that's going to cost. I know this deal is not going to cost the township any money. I heard that more than once in our meetings. Doubletree was talking about events. Do you know how much the average income, the medium, the mode, and mean for this township is per resident?
I'll
How
ask
to
you,
do that work?
I'll ask you
They're looking
please
at using it.
complete your remarks, but then I will have them respond if that would work.
Okay, I
Just
would
to-
like that.
Thank you for your, does that conclude your remarks?
Yeah, golf outings. Golf outings will be go through Doubletree, right?
We'll respond to that one too.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for your comments.
Thank you for your comments. Doubletree's not in the business of producing golf outings. It's not what we do. It's not our wheelhouse. We're in the business of producing great hospitality with food and beverage. To that extent, we would work with the management company that's handling golf on the property to elevate the experience with food and beverage that we can offer, to elevate the experience for the outings, to drive more outings, more revenue for the country club. So we don't have an interest in running golf operations. We have an interest in supporting Reading Country Club by supporting golf outings and driving revenue and membership for their success. Regarding the liquor license, we are a third-party management company, a concessionaire. Nothing that we do will take away the right for the country club, for the township to own their liquor license. They own the liquor license. We have to act as a third-party management company. We cannot purchase the liquor. They have to maintain control over that. We can only manage it for them. Right. Just like the delivery company. We can't deliver the liquor. We can help arrange a company to bring the liquor over. We can supply management for the liquor on property. We can be accountable. And in the contract, there's an accountability clause regarding liquor in the contract, where we have to open our books and how we're inventorying liquor, the purchasing, the revenue that comes from liquor, It's entirely transparent what happens with liquor. And we'll sit down at the end of every year and say, did it work? Did we make enough money on liquor and why? What's going on with it? Were the inventories on track? I know what it costs to live in Exeter. I'm in Exeter Township. I know the people of Exeter very, very well. I know we're a middle-class, hard-working group of people who wants a sense of community, wants to develop the downtown so that people can come out and have a sense of community. We have 422 who runs a corridor through our town. That's what we have. We're hoping that we can build Reading Country Club to be a hub of social activity and attraction for the community to come out and participate. In terms of who plays golf, a lot of people play golf, I don't. We plan on producing a lot of community events where the community will have the opportunity to come in, engage, go to a restaurant, go to a brunch, all the above. So we think we're on target with what we want to do as far as building a community and not just golf membership. Yeah.
The other golf company,
Yeah.
they have, unless they buy their own liquor license, they have to do it.
Yeah, I'm not sure how Brown is proposing to supply liquor or how they propose what their contract is. I'm proposing how they'll manage liquor. But I know, but what I do understand is what the law says about how we need to conduct ourselves as a management company and respect and maintain, help them maintain, the township maintain its liquor license, that asset.
Thank you. I have Tom Hinkle, please, next.
I'm Tom Hinkle. I live at 1210 Stonehenge Drive in Exeter. I only have two things to say. One, I thought the township got 90 million for selling a sewer plant. Why don't we use some of that money to build another access point into the country club? Because that, only having the one, it kills your traffic, and I think it'll hurt events too. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Hinkle. I believe it's Tom Manley is our final guest. Is it?
I'm Tom Manley, 4815 Club Drive. So I agree with everything that everyone's been saying here so far. I just have a couple concerns and questions. It sounds like you guys are going to be getting the place rent-free. Yearly taxes, I understand we're going to have to pay that as well. And I know what my taxes are like. I can't imagine what the country club taxes are like. The liquor costs, sounds like we're footing the bill for that. The paying for the license, all the administrative issues for that. I hope we're getting the profits from the liquor. And the initial cost to prepare the place for service, has that been considered, and how much is that? That's all, thank you.
Thank you, sir. So that concludes public comment. I should have acknowledged the presence this evening, so I'm going to do that now. To my left of Attorney Tucker Hall, his namesake firm is taking the place of Chad this evening. So thank you for joining us, sir. And for those watching on TV, I wanted them to know who you are as well. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman, may I have permission to go to the bathroom?
I'll take that as a recess request, 10 minutes. Do I have a second for a recess request?
I'll second that.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Recess 10 minutes.
Lies, lies.
Where they've been. Like warehouse. They got
At least they tell me they
Oh, it's terrible. 2 hours. Yeah. It was.
Good evening again, everyone. We're calling the meeting back to order, 8:51. Thank you. So approvals. First in the lineup of approvals is the minutes, August 11, 2022. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the minutes from August 11th, 2022.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any comment?
None.
Pardon, that was none?
None,
Okay.
none.
Hearing none, calling the vote. All those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Nay. So, say nay, excuse me. So,
I said aye.
oh, you said aye, okay. So 5-0 vote. Thank you for repeating that. Next on the lineup, under approvals, disbursements, August 22 of 2022. Do I have a motion?
I have some questions about them, if I may ask them.
Of course.
Four
recognizes.
four items, thank you. JB Plumbing HVAC, replace mini split for $2,900. Could you tell me what that's about?
Larry, you're taking that one?
Yes.
Thank you.
We received 3 estimates to replace the AC unit where the ambulances are stationed on our building on the corner. It's
Over here?
Yes.
Okay, all right. That's good enough.
Yeah, yeah.
I wasn't sure what building it was in.
Yeah, the other unit that was there is no longer functional, so we had to replace it. So we asked for 3 bids, and his bid was the lowest one. It was like almost
Okay.
$3,000.
All right, well, stay cool.
All right, thanks.
The other item is K&D Factory Service, a servo check at RCC for $1,010. Don't go away, Larry.
Yes, that was one of the things that you asked if we could have a company come in and do an inspection of all the equipment there. We do have a report for that we're putting together.
In the kitchens?
But yes.
Okay,
Yep.
good. Who asked for that?
I believe we were asked to move forward with the country clubs.
Do you remember who asked you to do that?
I would believe it was you.
Thank you.
Yep.
We have a legal service, $4,290. Can you just give me generally what that legal service was? Appel, law, PC, legal service?
Where is that, Supervisor?
I think it's the last one on the check distribution list, the very last one.
I'll have to look into that and get back to you on that.
How about the one for McCain, Connell, Lane, something, $16,492?
That was for an investigation of a harassment charge that was brought on the town.
Against me, yes. Now, we have the results.
Publicly.
We have the results. When are we going to tell the public the results of that investigation?
I don't know that results of such an investigation are made public, but I imagine the board can do.
Well, I think we should, since you've been publicly claiming baselessly that I've harassed people, and this investigation resolves that issue.
I don't think we said that you harassed her. It was complaint we got, and then we have to investigate. So watch your wording and make sure it's correct.
Good, well, let's just put it out there, then I don't have to say any words, do I?
No?
All right, thank you.
So that was a good discussion. Do I have a motion, however, on the disbursement approval?
I'll make a motion to approve the disbursements. I too have questions, but I'm following the rules of order rather than just imposing.
Do I have by the way, just inquiring, is that motion sans the one Betsy was looking into?
I would suggest it be sans that.
Okay. So may I ask you, Mr. Gardella, if that is...
I'll accept that friendly amendment.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table. Do I have a, chair seconds, any additional discussion?
Yeah, so I had submitted my questions to Betsy prior to the meeting so that she could have time to prepare answers. She answered my questions appropriately, but I did want to point out, one of the questions I asked was about the food and beverage supply runs for the snack shack. And so there were 16 different charges on the credit card statement. So 16 different opportunities where our employees had to take time to run to the beer barn, to Walmart, to other places, so that they could purchase the supplies for the snack shack. And so I just wanted to point that out because part of the relationship, if it is approved tonight, is to have Reading Hospitality Management help us with the provisioning of the snack shack, so we would do away with all of those individual trips. Those were my questions, and they were answered by Betsy prior to the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gardella. Any additional comments on disbursements? Hearing none, call the vote. All those in favor of approving the disbursements with the exception of the noted one, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Sounds like a 5-0 vote there as well. Treasurer's report. Do I have a motion to approve that report?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Thank you. I'll second that. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I will have to vote no on this report. It's missing about 15 pages or so. I think there's 33 pages. There's like only 18 in the file that was loaded up. So I will vote no on this report.
Any additional discussion on the treasurer's report? Hearing none, calling the vote on the treasurer's report. All those in favor of approving, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
No.
4-1 vote. Administration is next. Item 1, discussion and possible motion to adopt employee handbook. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to adopt the employee handbook as submitted with the changes from the last review.
I'll second it.
Making my job easier. Thank you. Motion and a second. Any additional discussion among the board?
Yes, I have discussion. Page 28. It
Chair
talks
recognizes
about-
Dave Hughes.
Talks about the employees work a 40-hour week. It talks about the work hours are 8 to 4:30, and then it also says that the employees get 1 hour for lunch. So I don't know. I've been accused of not being a very good accountant here tonight, and to me, it seems like that's just 7.5 hours a day.
I believe that concludes your additional remark. Is there any?
I think we need to fix that.
I think Supervisor Hughes has a good point here, and we should break out the 40 hours, the shifts, we can do that, and I'll ask you to table this till next meeting. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
So I had a motion and a second, so it sounds like there's a request for management to lay on the table. So do I have an amended motion?
I'll make
Sure.
it.
Okay,
Go ahead.
so amended motion and a second. So the administration item 1, per that revision, I have a motion in a second to lay on the table. Is there any additional discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor of laying that on the table, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
Nay.
4-1 vote. Item 2, discussion for approval of motion for the workplace policies.
I'll make a motion that we adopt the 2 workplace policies that were submitted.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on this one?
I'd like to make comments.
Chair recognizes Ted Gardella.
These policies are on both sexual harassment and workplace conduct. I think this board all knows why it's critical that we pass these policies tonight, and that we also approve training, not only for employees, but certainly for supervisors as well. I think the community suspects why we need to pass these policies this evening, and it's been alluded to that there was a complaint and a report. And I think there is rational disagreement on what that report says. In fact, Mr. Hughes, I have the floor. In fact, I took the liberty of providing extra questions to this board so that they could actually read the document closely and especially read the recommendations of the report and the observations of the report, which it appears that not every supervisor did. So I'm very thankful that our team put together, researched, and put together two very good policies, and I know that we have, coming in the future, training opportunities for employees and also for supervisors, so that in the future, we perhaps will not have complaints raised about behavior.
It'll help you too.
Thank you, Mr. Gardella. Any additional comments on that one?
No.
Okay. So having a motion and a second, I'll call the vote. All those in favor of approving the workplace policies that were just referenced, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? 5-0 vote. Seems like a good time for me to interject, because my left-hand man, Chad, wasn't here today, but the board had an executive session on the 16th of August. Pardon me for forgetting that in my opening comments. It was to discuss personnel. So that occurred on the 16th. This topic reminded me of that. Continuing to zoning planning. Item number 1, consider possible action on Windy Willows Subdivision. Have you context for us, Joe?
Yes, I can give a little, it'll be a brief overview. This has been a subdivision that's been on the books for quite some time. It was formerly known as the Faust Tract. It's located in Exeter Township, Lower Alsace Township, and Alsace Township. The plan was approved back in 2008, and residents appealed the decision that was made. It went through a series of litigation courts, and it got thrown back to the township, where actually there was a letter produced by Buckley Bryan, as dated June 21st, to the former manager of, June 21st, 2018, pretty much gives a synopsis of what took place. And one of the conditions is that they needed to submit a final plan within this 5-year window. And in calculation, August 30th is actually the deadline. So this evening, the board can either not take any action. It's our understanding that the developer is not going to be submitting plans for that August 30th deadline. So, Tucker, I'd probably refer to you that maybe the best position that the board might want to take is just not take any action at all.
I agree.
Okay.
Did you say for the record you agreed?
Yes.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay.
Does that conclude your remarks on that one then?
Yes.
Okay. So a no action is effectively no action, but I'm still going to ask if...
We don't need to take any formal action since they're not going to submit anything, and we're just going to
Just
Yeah,
gonna-
so I'm
decline. Okay.
I'm not believing I'm going to hear a motion then, just to conclude. Okay, thank you for that update.
Item number 2, this evening we had on the agenda Oley Turnpike Culvert. As you may recall from my presentation earlier this month, this was the top priority culvert. And this evening, we wanted to have a brief discussion if the board would be in favor of advertising, completing the contract specifications, and advertising the project for sometime this either late fall or early winter to see what our costs would be. Construction would not take place until spring for several reasons. Right now, materials are so difficult to get for construction. More realistically, we're probably looking at a 6-month time window. This would bring us into the spring of 2023 if the board would choose to award that contract.
So I'm going to make the motion to approve the advertising for a bid of the Oley Turnpike Road Culvert project so that we can move into discussion.
I will second it.
So I have a motion and a second. Thank you. Any supervisor requests for discussion? Okay, so hearing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor for approving the advertising of the bid for the Oley Turnpike Road culvert, culvert number 1 on the list, in priority, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? 5-0 vote.
Okay, thank you. And the last item under zoning and planning, the Planning Commission received a zoning application for a property. It's a dwelling that's currently operating as a 2-unit apartment. And the Ms. Kopek, she's the owner, and she's actually present this evening to answer any questions and give a brief presentation. But I just want to let the board know that the Planning Commission did review this application and took no action at our meeting last Monday evening. So I was going to say, if the board doesn't mind, Ms. Kopek will give a brief overview of her application and answer any questions, and I'm also available to answer any questions as well.
So please pardon me just 1 second. I do appreciate your appearance.
Just point of order. As we move forward, so the request from us would be to recommend.
Yes,
to the
yes, I'm
zoning-
sorry, yes.
Okay.
This evening, what action could be taken by the Board of Supervisors would be whether they would recommend approval to the zoning hearing board or recommend denial or take no action on the subject matter of the application.
Right, thank you. And I was at the planning meeting, so the implications of each of those, obviously, the zoning and planning, the zoning hearing commission, they are the decision makers here.
Correct, yes. The zoning hearing board is its own judiciary body, so they will make that decision. However, in the past, the policy of the township would be to have the planning commission and the board of supervisors review it, and whether or not they would endorse it or take no action or be recommending any denial.
Right, and so our options are to recommend to the zoning.
Correct, yes.
Commission. Either we would issue a recommendation of approval or a recommendation of denial, or take no action, which is what the planning commission did.
Yes, yes, the planning commission's recommended to the board take no action. However, the board can choose to make that decision, as Supervisor Gardella just explained.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Since our resident was kind enough to wait at this length, can we afford her a few moments to?
I'll be quick.
Would there be any objection to that? So,
I'm not a public speaker, I apologize.
You'll do fine.
And I'll keep this quick, I promise. My name's Lindsay Kopek. I purchased 1394 Clare this past February. It was confirmed by my realtor as well as a township member. And it was grandfathered a multi-unit rental, which it was being rented. There were 3 independent living spaces existing, each consisting of their own breaker panels, heating sources, entrances, kitchens, bathrooms, etc. They were all independent. We remodeled each unit interior to bring not only the value up, but to obtain better quality renters. We added no extra square footage and no extra bedrooms. We kept the count the same. While in the process of obtaining the mortgage, we were informed it was considered grandfathered 2 versus a multi-3, therefore appraising at a lower value and causing financial hardship. We factored in all 3 incomes for our commercial balloon mortgage without the 3rd unit's income for our which is a small 1-bedroom unit, which I just wanted to mention that. It's the 1-bedroom at question. We cannot afford this loan. We immediately canceled the tenant who was set to move in and had to halt the exterior remodeling. We would like to continue to improve the property and bring value to the area. So I stand here asking for the board's recommendation to have my grandfathered multi-unit appropriately zoned into a multi-3 unit. And that's, thank you.
thank you for your comments. I appreciate those.
The property is located in the SR2, which is a single-family residential zoning district. I failed to mention that before. However, they're looking for a variance since it'll be operating as an apartment with 3 units.
So I don't believe anybody will have any questions for Ms. Kopek, so you may feel free to, but thank you for speaking, and I know it's not always the easiest thing, so thank you.
I do have a question for,
May I ask Joe one first, and then I'll recognize, is that fair? Joe, just one question I have for you, though, please. With it being a multi-unit, just want to ask you what your view on parking would be.
That was discussed at the planning commission. She mentioned that the street, it would be off-street, on-street parking, from my understanding. So there would not be any on-street, off-street parking. It'd be on-street, I'm sorry.
So I think that's, yeah.
Oh, is there? Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
There's a two-pad.
My error.
There is a
two-car pad.
driveway, as well as it's a double lot, so we do plan to, if we need to. I already did have it planned, but I had to stop when everything happened with 30.
Okay.
Yeah.
My mistake. I'm sorry.
And it's on a corner unit, so it's three corners that is over the street as well.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean, I'll recognize you for your comment.
yeah,
Come back here, please.
and I just had a question, I don't know if it's for you or Joe. Now, do you know how long it was operating as a 3-unit, before you bought it?
I don't know how long all 3 units were operating, but they built, I know the top unit in the 78, I believe. So it was vacant for, I would say the top unit was rented to the last person before I purchased it. So maybe 6 months prior, I think they left.
And was it advertised as a 3-unit when you
It was
purchased it?
advertised as a multi, correct.
Okay.
And I did confirm, I asked her to confirm, because I do know it was under residential, but she said it was grandfathered as a multi, and she confirmed it with the zoning officer.
Okay.
Are there any other board questions at the moment?
No, I have none.
Okay, thank you again.
Thank you.
So we have the opportunity to consider recommendation for zoning use variance application for 1394 Clarence Drive. Do I have I guess it would still be a motion, even though it's a recommendation.
I'll make that motion to approve it.
Okay. Do I
Recommend approval.
Or to recommend approval.
to recommend approval, just to clarify?
Yep, to recommend approval.
So I have a motion to recommend approval for the zoning use variance application for 1394 Clare Drive. Do I have a second?
I will second it.
Okay. So I have a motion and a second. Any additional conversation? Hearing none, calling the vote. All those in favor of recommending approval for the zoning use variance, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
No. No.
3-2 for approval. Thank you, everybody. Parks and Recreation is next. Discussion and possible action to outsource wow, it's a long night. The summer daycare program. Betsy, did you have, pardon me, Jennifer has some context for us this evening.
Good evening. Just real brief, as you know, the camp that we hosted this summer, we ran into a couple challenges. So we have had conversations in prior meetings about outsourcing. And I did a very light research on this because, again, it's not until next year. But I looked at partnering with the YMCA. They actually offer to run a day camp, and the one I researched was being hosted at Boyertown Elementary School. So I don't have a lot of information about it. However, they run a weekly program that parents can sign up weekly, and they have extra activities like gymnastics and investigation research that they do, and it's broken up into age groups, so it's actually separated a little bit more than what we currently have.
Betsy, did you have perspective, Deb?
I do. As we're walking down this road to looking into outsourcing, we're finding organizations that will give us advice on how to run the camp, but everybody will be township employees. And what the Y offers is, I think, more what we will want when we get to that point, which is it will be Y employees, not township employees. So this is just a heads up for tonight.
Okay, so I don't know if I have a motion or not, but do I have a motion at this point? I think it's
Not a
just,
motion, but I do have a question for Jennifer.
Fair. I'll recognize you for that, please.
Thanks. So Jennifer, we've had some discussions. I want to make sure that the entire board knows. What was the the charge that we did for our summer camp program this year?
It was 145 per child for the program, the entire program.
And the program runs for 150 contact hours, is that correct?
Yes,
So that would mean we are charging less than $1 an hour for the summer program.
that would be correct.
And so, as many of us have seen in years past, there have always been concerns about the chargebacks to the general fund for the Parks and Recs programming. Part of that is because we are offering this service to our township residents at an extremely low price. So, I understand we're trying to look at other solutions, but I think the community should understand that currently, we are less than optimum for having employees and young people who have actually done a great job working for us, but the sustainability of that it's just not there at that price point.
Sure. Great.
Thank you.
Any additional board commentary on this for this evening? Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Public Works, it looks we have nothing this evening. Is that correct, Larry? Okay. Reading Country Club, item 1, update on the country club. Is that a Larry update, please?
The only update we really have is we're still waiting for the supplies for the electrical to be repaired. So, other than that, we don't have anything else. I did have somebody come out and quote to repair the sign out front. As soon as I get that, I'll be sharing that with you. We did do some cleaning over there on the patios and stuff. There was some pressure washing that needed to be done, so we had a little bit of a afternoon that we needed to fill in, so we went over and took care of that. So.
We're still waiting for the roof report?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm waiting for the guy that came out and inspected the slate roof. He's going to bring his drone over and do a film on all the peaks of the country club. So I didn't hear back from him yet also.
Thanks.
Okay.
Item number 2, discussion and possible motion to approve RCC partnership with Reading Hospitality Management. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve the RCC partnership with Reading Hospitality Management.
And I'll second that.
Having a motion and a second, I'll open the floor to discussion among board members, please. Any board members like the floor?
Yeah, I'd just like to say something. I just want to say to the public that spoke tonight, I hear every concern that you're saying. I'm in a tough position in looking at this because when I came onto the board, Mr. Hughes told me the one thing he wanted to do was get the Reading Country Club up and running. And what I took out of the Brown proposal was, because I called the other 2 townships that they do work for. Both of those townships told me they did an excellent job at golf. Excellent job. But for events, they didn't have any events. They had some small events just around golf, but they weren't having weddings, they weren't having big outings. So that was a big concern for me after I spoke to them. Seeing, this group was part of the Boscov's group. They're local. Most of them live here in Exeter. And we have an easy out if it doesn't work. I think they're going to do an excellent job just because they're business people. And I like the fact that they're giving us 25% of the gross revenue. Brown was 75% of profits, okay? That's a big difference because they could say, well, this employee is going to get a new raise. Well, that dips into profits. This is gross revenue. This is the thing that the residents need to understand, is it's a bigger number overall. And as a business, you can easily hide profits. Also, the township is collecting all the funds, and we're paying Reading Hospitality Group. They're not collecting the funds. We are. So we know exactly how much revenue comes in and how much, the bill is going to be, because it's going to be, we get to keep 25%. Yes, I understand we have to pay for the liquor. Yes, I understand we have to pay for the utilities. I'm willing to take a chance over the next 12 months to see what happens. If it doesn't work, we get rid of them. It's a really easy out. We have to take action to move this township forward. We're never going to make everybody happy, including myself. I mean, there's things in this that I'm not 100% happy with, but we have to look at this as taking action and moving forward. If we need to change it, we can change, we can improvise, we can adapt, but we have to take action. And to get 25% of gross revenue and to put on these events for the community at cost, I don't know if everybody knows that, but that was discussed with them. So they're buying into this community, and they're taking a chance on us that this is going to work, because this has to work in the long term for them to make money. It's not going to work in the short term, because they're putting tremendous resources with marketing, with the teams, with all the people that they got to hire. That's not our expense. Yes, we have the utilities to worry about, but we don't, with the Brown proposal, they had to bring on their teams. We had to get the kitchens all done. We had to spend a lot of money to get them in here, from my understanding. So this is a minimal expense of taxpayer money and to help generating things right away. So I just wanted to give my perspective on that.
Thank you, Dave. Do any supervisor? Is that affirmative?
Recognizing me? Okay. So it's odd that you take offense that we question your integrity, but Mr. Vollmer is here questioning the integrity of the Brown Associates, and we haven't even seen them present here yet. This is a Band-Aid right now. This is what this is. Your first year, you're suggesting we're going to make $125,000. That's our 25% cut for you to use our facility, and all the expenses there'll be expenses that come out of that. But right now, we're losing at a clip of $400,000 a year. So this doesn't solve our problem, gentlemen and lady. What this does is it just pushes it down the road. This is an enterprise fund. And what it means is that we have to operate this by charging user fees, the people that use the club and the golf course, to cover our expenses. We are not supposed to be dipping into taxpayer funds. If we give money to the enterprise fund, it's supposed to be a loan. And they're not making the money to pay back the loans. They owe us a lot of money already. This has to operate on its own. I hope everyone, if you don't know what an enterprise fund is, to go check it out, understand what it means. It has to stand alone, okay? That's number one. And it's losing $400,000 a year at least. We're going to incur more expenses by doing this, there's no doubt about it. But the problem is that we need more than 75%. You need to cover our operating expenses and our depreciation. And that's the requirement in an enterprise fund. Our annual depreciation is $400,000 a year. So right there, you've got to make that for us. So this is the problem. Your estimate, we lose every year. We continue to lose money, and we can't do that. That doesn't solve the problem that we are responsible for solving. And this is just a Band-Aid. We want to really bring this country club up to where it should be. And that means opening everything up. Brown will run everything. They'll run the golf course. They're experts in the golf course. They'll run the food and beverage business, and they'll do the banquets. Look, the banquet business for us, we make money when we don't even try. Remember, we had a wedding reception that we didn't even know about? Well, we made $9,000 off of that. We're not going to get $9,000 for every wedding reception they hold, and those people got their own caterer. Okay, when we start bringing in the catering business, that'll be great. We've got 2 large, beautiful commercial kitchens, and they just sit there doing nothing. That's our fault. It's our responsibility to get this facility up and running. They only want the best part of the deal. There was a Pell report done a couple years ago. A lot of distinguished people that gave us a report, they said the golf course at best might make 20 grand. Mostly it'll break even. The food and beverage business, and I'm sure you guys know this, the average is 5 to 8% margin. That's all it is. Our bread and butter that gets us to the 9% that we did for 5 years is the banquet business, and they want 75% of that. And these guys are really bridging their responsibilities to this community by giving that much money away to your business. And understand, I respect you guys, okay? You're going to try to do it. I would do it too. I mean, you get a chance here to eliminate your competition. You got the DoubleTree, you got Stokesay Castle, there's a place over at Flying Hills, and then you have us. And I know if my daughter was getting married, I'd rather have her get married at the Reading Country Club, a real nice scenic facility, as opposed to the drugs and the violence in the center city Reading. Definitely would take this venue. So we have a real problem here too, and I want to be able to see Brown present their story. I think the people of this township need to hear Brown, and then give us a choice. These four here, they don't want us to have a choice. They just want to dictate what we're going to do. Now, I tried to get this information long before this meeting tonight, and I sent an email to our manager, Betsy, and I asked, give me information, tell me what the correspondence is, because they wouldn't let me in on this. So, and listen to this, Counselor, you'll love this. I was told that I have to request it on a right-to-know request. I am an elected official here. You guys are not. And I was forced to submit a right-to-know request to find out what our negotiations are with them. This is ridiculous. And then I was also told they felt like I was spying on them. I have it right here. And if anybody wants to write on this, if the Reading Eagles here, I got a copy for you. It's absolutely ridiculous. So I followed their instructions. I put a right-to-know request in. I called up PSATS. I said, you ever hear anything like this before? Never. I talked to a couple of attorneys. They said they've never heard of where an elected official had to submit a right-to-know request for information. So I did it. I submitted it, and I have this right here. And I got a reply back that I have to wait 30 days to find out about this information. So I don't know what you guys were trying to hide. I know that there was unilateral decisions made here, unilateral meetings that I wasn't privy to, I didn't know about. So
why are they posting on the board right here that you refuse to engage with the Reading Hospitality Manager? That's posted.
No, they've never asked me to engage.
No, but somebody right now is posting this.
Yeah, somebody here, I mean, they're trying to undermine my credibility, okay? They've, look, read the room, people. It's very simple. Look, they're all over there. They got me all over here. I'm by myself. There's some kind of game being played here. You want to show us that you're not biased, bring Brown in, let Brown give us their presentation so that we have a choice. I don't care what you say about me and the baseless accusations, Mr. Gardella. Do your worst. Because in the end, they're going to find out about you, okay? So do it. I don't care. You know, I'm going to tell the people what I think. It's my responsibility. They elected me to be here to watch out for them, and I'm going to give them what I know. If they don't agree, if you don't agree, that's fine. But I'm not trying to undermine your credibility, but you keep it up. Don't stop. So I'm asking the board tonight that they table this motion, contact Brown, let them present, let's have a town meeting where all of the people, if you really care about the people of Exeter Township, let's give them an opportunity to come to a meeting and hear both sides. That's it.
Chairman Bell, may I speak?
Sure.
Okay.
like a copy of that, by the way. My attorney will need it.
There you go, that's for Dave's attorney.
Undermining an elected official.
Actually, that's an insinuation that I do not embrace, nor do I accept. You were contacted by Supervisor Gardella on several occasions to meet regarding RCC. The reason I know that is because I was CC'd on those communications.
Oh, I don't deny that. In fact, I'll tell you why I
Wait, you
didn't.
just said you weren't reached out to.
No. I said
I
I
must have
wasn't involved.
misunderstood.
I am a supervisor, okay? And I don't need Gardella to call me into an office and to give me an update on what they're negotiating. I should be at the table, guys. You should have been talking to me. I spent many times in Taiwan negotiating multi-million-dollar deals with TSMC. Those guys, I don't know what they've been doing, but I have a storied reputation out in Silicon Valley, okay? I'll put up my credentials with either one of you, or all of you, okay? Doesn't matter. But I wasn't going to go in there after this guy censures me and passes a resolution, and then he wants me to come in with him and Betty to update me on what you guys are doing.
It's Betsy, but that's okay.
Betsy, I'm sorry.
I wasn't in on it either. It was strictly
all
the
right.
It was
supervisors.
unreasonable.
You yielded the floor, Supervisor Hughes.
And one other
Could you finish
thing.
your remarks, please, Betsy?
Regarding the right to know, I will never release communication between an attorney and anyone else without a formal right to know. That won't happen. The attorney, as solicitor, can talk to you confidentially and anyone here confidentially. It's not my place to violate that.
I was asking for information that was known to all the supervisors. Obviously, Gardella and Bell knew about it, and if what
I
they knew...
disagree, Mr. Hughes. I didn't have any of this correspondence
No,
until
what
Thursday
they know,
afternoon.
we should have known. If you didn't know either, then
We
they cut
voted
you out,
to have
too.
them do the negotiations, and I trusted my colleagues to do the negotiations. I don't have to be involved in everything they do. I trusted them, and that's why I voted for it at the previous meeting.
Well, I ran here to be involved in running this township and answering to the township's citizens, okay? And you guys cut me out. You took me off of all the committees, and I'm sitting over here, and you're all over there. I hope you feel real safe, okay? But this is not the way...
Mr.
to
Hughes,
run
you
this
yielded
township.
the floor. Do I have any other supervisors that would like to make a remark?
I would like to. So I do have notes on quick comparison of RCC management proposals. That is up there. I provided it to all of the board. Prior to, I'm not going to comment on his right to know request and his request for emails between supervisors. But the thing that we need to understand is that we've actually looked at 4 different proposals for RCC management. We had the Morningstar proposal, which I think everyone agreed was not a good deal for the township, and that was quickly voted down. Then, David Hughes engaged his acquaintance Mike Jaffe as an agent of Coursing Associates to review the RCC and put forth a proposal outside of the RFP process. No other supervisors were involved in this engagement. The Coursey proposal was for design services only, with an upfront cost of $228,000 to simply design the RCC kitchens before any equipment or any supplies were purchased, which would have been the responsibility of Exeter Township and would have required Exeter to hire all personnel. Brown Golf responded to the RFP issued by Exeter Township. By the way, their response was received late. They did not submit according to the timeline of the RFP. We agreed to accept their submission after the timeline. That proposal is a management proposal only, with mostly virtual resources and no on-site presence. That contract has been out available to the public for months. Months. If you read the contract closely, you'll see...
Could you try again?
Sorry about that.
I'm sure. So that contract has been available for months. If you read it, it reads like a promo piece for Brown Golf's employees. There are pages and pages of their vitae and their background, and there's very little specifics about what they would do other than that they would manage operations for $80,000 a year plus 25% of the profits, with all expenses being the responsibility of Exeter Township. We're hearing a lot about utilities, but I'll show you a comparison. All expenses would have been our responsibility. It's coming. Be patient.
Well, we should do it
Be
before we
patient.
make this vote.
Be patient.
See it before the
It's
vote.
coming.
All right. Please continue.
Reading Hospitality Management was approached by Chair Bell and Vice Chair myself. We then offered to communicate and engage with all supervisors individually. Dave Hughes was the only supervisor who refused to engage. Not only did he not engage, he didn't even respond. 6 different communications, 3 texts, 3 emails, no response, no engagement. Michelle Kircher has toured RCC with the RHM team. George and I have toured the RCC separately with the sales and marketing team, several of whom worked at the RCC under Chef Allen and Viva. So I have a matrix of comparisons here that I just want to go through very quickly. The first thing to think about are equipment costs. How are we going to equip the kitchen, which is not ready for operation? Some call that kitchen beautiful. Others who have actually walked through it call it not operational. Exeter Township is responsible for all equipment costs under the Corsi and Associates plan, and we have to purchase that equipment before operating. We have to spend potentially $1 million rehabbing that kitchen before we can serve a single meal. Under Brown Golf, it is exactly the same. All equipment must be purchased before operating, and that would be our responsibility. With Reading Hospitality Management, it's operating as a catering kitchen. There are no upfront equipment costs. If we decide to open the first floor as a restaurant, RHM will collaborate and has the right of first refusal to operate a restaurant. Think about that just for a minute. I just outlined that the Corsi and Associates proposal would have cost $228,000 up front to review and design the kitchen. And yet, RHM is offering to do that in collaboration with us at no cost. Secondly, utility costs. That's right.
Cost.
Utility costs. Again, I have the floor, sir. I did not interrupt you. But then again, I have some emotional maturity here. So utility costs, every single proposal, those would be our costs. It doesn't matter what vendor we use. We're going to pay the utilities. Are we going to pay the water costs? Absolutely. But far more of the water cost is due to operating a golf course than they will be to operating events at the Reading Country Club. Food costs. Under the Corsi and Associates program, we'd be paying all kinds of money to design a menu, to get an executive chef. All of those things would have to be done before we could open. All upfront costs, and then we're responsible for paying for all of the food, for everything that's served, whether it's served as a banquet or served in the restaurant. Same thing for Brown Golf. All food costs would be borne by Exeter Township. With RHM, they're going to purchase, prepare, and serve all food for events. We are responsible for the snack shack, but we will retain 100% of the profits from the snack shack, and they're going to help assist us with ordering through their vendors, and they will drive down our costs at the snack shack, which means our profits will rise at the snack shack. Beverage costs. Corsi and Associates, we're responsible for those. Brown Golf, we're responsible for those folks. There's no difference between the Brown Golf presentation and Corsi and Associates. We're going to have to pay for all of those supplies up front. With RHM, they're responsible for all non-alcoholic beverages served at events. We're responsible for purchasing the alcoholic beverages, but RHM will manage and serve. Snack Shack remains our responsibility with 100% of the profits. Let's talk about the big dog in the room, and that is employee costs, benefits, and pensions. Under the Corsi proposal, we would be responsible for all employee costs. We would have to find an executive chef and hire him or her, pay them their salary, their benefits, and they would be included in our pension costs. Same thing for Brown. Employee costs would be ours. Salary, benefits, and pension. Think about operating a restaurant. How many servers would be needed? How many backroom folks, dishwashers, prep chefs, sous chefs? All of those people, under both of those proposals, would be our employees. But with RHM, they're going to bring all of the employees, a world-class executive chef and his entire team. All of the servers, all of the bartenders, those are the employees of RHM. We don't pay their salaries, we don't pay their benefits, and they are not part of our pension plan. Marketing costs and employees for marketing. I know it's repetitive, but under the Corsi proposal, there's nothing there that would help us with marketing the property, with marketing events. Nothing there to help us drive our golf course to more profitability. Nothing to help us open the RCC. No marketing support. Same thing, quite frankly, for the Brown Golf proposal. There's nothing in there except for a bunch of web-based resources that will help us manage the golf course. With RHM, they're going to bring a full marketing suite to bear, including social media, hard copy marketing. They're going to work to make this successful. Sales costs and employees. You have to have people to sell an event. You can't just, it doesn't just magically appear. 17 brides come walking down the driveway and begging to have a wedding scheduled at the Reading Country Club. So we need to have sales employees who will sell the events and the Reading Country Club. Under Corsi, we've got to have those employees. Under Brown, we've got to have those employees. With Reading Hospitality Management, they have a full sales team, and they will have a sales manager on site. You will not see any on-site presence from either Corsi or from Brown. Why? Because Corsi just wanted to come in, look at the kitchen, and then tell us what equipment we needed to buy. They wanted to give us recommendations. You need to hire an executive chef. Well, yeah, we pretty much know that. You need to develop a menu. Yeah, that would be a good idea, too, before we start that up. All of that would be at cost with Corsi and Associates. That partnership with RHM is going to give us the assistance we need with data to determine our path forward if we choose to open a restaurant. For event planning costs and employees, does anyone here believe that brides just come in and they plan the wedding all by themselves? No need for a wedding planner or an event planner. They just have their entire concept in their mind, and they just come and say, this is exactly what I want. That's not the way the wedding business works nowadays. Wedding planners are necessary, and in order to build a business of weddings, we need a competent event planner on site. Gosh, would Corsi provide that event planner? The answer to that is no. That would be our responsibility. Would the Brown Golf proposal provide that event planning employee? The answer to that is no. But with RHM, they're going to have an event planner. They're going to have personnel on site. Brides are going to walk through that storied building, and they are going to have their dreams fulfilled with support from Reading Hospitality Management. Otherwise, folks, we've got to hire a boatload of people. We've got to buy a ton of supplies. We've got to pay a lot of money to rehab those kitchens, and that all happens before we serve a single meal. That's the Brown Golf proposal. Finally, and I think this is a really important point that everyone has skipped over, in order to run a restaurant, we're going to need to do a full health inspection for a restaurant operation. That would be our responsibility, and once the health inspection is done, remediating the results of that health inspection are our responsibility. Exeter Townships. Perhaps they'll come in and they'll note, as Reading Hospitality Management has, that we have a walk-in cooler that has a completely rusted out floor. That won't pass a health inspection, folks. That's got to be remediated prior to a single meal being served. Brown, we're responsible. Under Reading Hospitality Management, because this is a concessionaire agreement and a catering operation, there is no initial inspection needed because they're not operating the kitchen as a food preparation. It is a warming and serving site only. Of course, those of us who have, kind of researched this, we could have shared this information with everyone on the board. If we decide to operate a restaurant on the first floor, we will need a health inspection. And if Reading Hospitality Management are our partners. They will assist us with that inspection and with remediation. And prior to, they can operate as a catering kitchen and give us advice as to what they think will happen under a full health inspection. But all of those things need to happen before we open a restaurant. And all of those upfront costs, people are rightly identifying that we have to pay for utilities. We're paying for utilities now. And we're not operating and haven't for 5 years. As Mr. Vollmer indicated, the first time we talked with Dave Hughes, he was constantly talking about the need to get the RCC open and his grand vision of having township meetings in the King's Ballroom so that closed session we could adjourn to the bar. Just a fantastic, actually fantasy vision of that property. That property needs to be for the community and it needs to be generating revenue. And the plan that we have, the proposal we have from Reading Hospitality Management does that at minimal upfront costs. You want Brown to come and present and tell everybody that, oh, yep, you're going to pay for that. Yep, you'd pay for that too. Yeah, that would be your responsibility as well. Yes, there'd be a lot of upfront costs. Oh, but we get 75% of the profits. But those profits are going to be impacted by all of those expenses, many of them prior to any operation of the Reading Country Club. I know that we have copies of this available. I believe, Betsy, that we made copies of the Brown proposal available as well. Do we have?
I don't have it tonight, but it's
available on the website.
Mike, it has been available on the website. I'll confirm.
Months. As has the Corsi proposal. I don't want to minimize the fact that Mr. Hughes invited one of his acquaintances in to give us a proposal to help us open the country club. I don't want to minimize that, except that it was $228,000 before we did a single thing. We didn't even purchase any equipment. They would just review and design. Think about that. Think about the value that Reading Hospitality Management is bringing by reviewing and designing for us without that $228,000 upfront cost. I appreciate the time, Mr. Chair. I'm finished.
Michelle, did you wish a chance to speak at this time?
Well, I've worked in the city for 15 and a half years, and of course I've been here. I'm very familiar with Mr. Poole of the things that he's done, and I trust his word. And I've also worked in the restaurant, bar, banquet facilities most of my life, and I know what it takes. And that place needs a heck of a lot. And what I learned when I went on the tour of the building was that this company is going to do it for us. I mean, you don't realize, Ted said how much how many things we're going to do, but until you work it, this is a real, we're very lucky to have the expertise and to have people that are willing to take the time to try and make this work. I want to make this work. Everybody in this township does. But let's do the smartest and the best that we can do for the country club and get the right people in. And I am very pleased that they put this proposal in, and I will back them any way I can. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. I have some comments as well on this matter. First, my first thought is this building has been vacant for nearly 5 years. This gives us an opportunity to return it to the people. That shouldn't be forgotten. Any number of the other proposals, it would most likely be measured in years more till that building got reopened, essentially anywhere near what we could do post-haste with this proposal. In addition, I think about any business person out there that has ever started a business. This is essentially a year one business. I mean, it's been closed 5 years. So a year one business, to have the opportunity to immediately open without the enormous upfront cost that Ted was enumerating, I think is just a wonderful possibility. And if things don't work out mutually, not just township decision, the folks at Reading Hospitality also get to walk away. So there's a low walkaway hurdle. This means both parties are incented to do a good job for each other, and we both have insured interest in it, and neither one of us is held over the barrel to the other, subservient to the other. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I'm going to throw my cards in with some of the best in the business on that, but I'm going to tell you, if it doesn't work, I don't know what, I think we tried 3 times up to this point. If it doesn't work this time, I guess I'll throw my hat in the ring of not knowing what to do next. But I'll tell you, it's not our expertise, it is their expertise, and this is the winning formula in my mind. And as I believe Dan remarked, the goal is to get a restaurant opening. I hear that a lot, I've got a lot of emails. The goal is a restaurant, it's just a way to generate some revenue in the interim prior to some of the capital expenditures that are required to operate the restaurant fully, including personnel. That is an enormous cost, personnel. 4, at-cost events. At-cost events. What kind of business runs out at-cost events? They're doing that to represent the commitment to the community. The nearly dozen items, and we're looking to get some community interaction on what some of these would be. But the first one that has been proposed is a food truck event where we could have a catered experience, food truck, bring our community out in perhaps as early as October. I think Ted will speak a little bit more on that. But on these community events, it's in the agreement, we're going to operate those at cost to the township. That's not free, but at cost is materially lower than it would be if you tried to put on one of these events. We're never going to be Collegeville, where we have a definite town center for everybody to gather, okay? That's just not the layout of this township. The Reading Country Club gives us the chance to have the community involvement, and that nearly dozen events is very significant of a agreement that they generously mentioned they would help us do. That doesn't even speak to the fact that there's going to be resident discounts, whether it's a Sunday brunch, whether it's a wedding event, or whether it's any number of business event, a golf event. It doesn't even speak to that. So those are some of the reasons I found most compelling. The annual reopener I touched on, I don't know. You buy a cell phone and it's got a 2-year contract, okay? To have an annual reopener on a year 1 business, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. There's a out clause, a renegotiate clause. One of the principals sitting in front of me mentioned the idea of that is if someone is feeling, one party is feeling that the way it evolved, there's a little unknown on projections, if it evolves in a way where one party isn't feeling that it's a fair deal, that's what the annual reopener does. We'll have data then. We make data-based decisions. This kind of a contract provision highly helps me deal with the uncertainty of projections. It is a great provision for the people of this township. Lastly, I will just say this. There's been a lot of dispersions cast at various board members. I've tried, as the chairman of this board, to stay above that fray and to let many folks that I believe coming into this meeting may or may not have complete understandings of what we're trying to accomplish with this. And yet I feel like as a board, we want to hear your voice. What I will say is I've grown weary of some of the false allegations that are made. I hear I'm not involved in the process from Mr. Hughes. We have interim manager Betsy validate that there was outreach. We have K and KA here a few weeks ago. I don't even know why you're here. Gentleman from K and KA validates Mr. Hughes was present during the visit, okay? We have chief was dismissed. I didn't know anything about it. Solicitor Schnee on the record indicates That's not exactly true, David. And it's this type of behavior, I'm just asking you, who do you believe at some point? To validate the point, I will now say on the record, I have an email thread, since we're speaking about the Reading Eagle. It's probably just another evolved or changing opinion. The email thread between Mr. Hughes and myself. What do you think of the proposal? This is Brown Golf, May 5th, 2022, if anybody wishes to request it. Term is flexible enough to me, I would support a meeting. That's George Bell, the chairman of this board. David Hughes, 420,000 more than Morningstar and 5% more profit, same type of deal. Read Mike Jaffe's resume. He will get us up and running and find us a GM. George Bell, do you think Mike MJ is interested? Because I don't know the man from Adam, okay? Interested in getting us up and running, GM job, but we'll find us a good, no, but we'll find us a good GM. I think we should eliminate middlemen, create an authority to run it, a dereliction of the Brown proposal, okay, in black and white. Remember, golf has to go. So, people, for 6-7 months of the greatest honor that I've had to serve you, I've never told you a lie at this chair, and I grow weary of those that do. I will lastly tell you, the gentleman to my left today in social media disparaged my fiduciary responsibility to my clients as an employee of Fidelity Investments, and that you're now impacting my family, my welfare, and that is a red line, Mr. Hughes. And I'm standing here to say I've had enough of it.
Unbelievable.
At this time, I'm going to call the vote on this. On the motion to approve the RCC partnership with Reading Hospitality Management. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed?
Nay.
Thank you for that 4-1 approval. Next, update on the condition of the Reading Country Club. I believe we might have heard that update. Larry? Is there any more to that update?
More to the update?
Is there any more to the update on the, I think we might have heard that already?
Not right now.
Monthly reports. I have a golf report. Is there any interest in discussing that?
I just noticed the golf report is not on SharePoint, so I'll ask you to push this off till the next meeting.
Fair enough. Police report. Chief, would you have the floor?
Yeah, I'd like the board to know that we, since the last meeting, our department, we were in Operation Nighthawk with the Pennsylvania State Police. What that is a statewide operation. It pairs municipal police departments with the state police. It's with DUI roving patrols. We conducted that on August 12th and August 13th. We had 6 officers that were in that detail for Friday and Saturday night. And our 6 officers had 9 DUI arrests and 11 other arrests.
Right.
Now, compared to Berks County, they had 18 total, and we had 9 of those 18. So I'm very proud of our guys. So I worked with Sergeant Bentz for this detail, and I got highway state funding to pay for our officers. So it wasn't something that we had 6 guys out there where the township paid for it. We had, it's all reimbursable funds. So something that, it's very important, I feel, for the community, not only for Exeter, but for Berks County. The state police do this throughout the entire state, and they, since it was the 20th anniversary, they, the 2 officers that were killed in Philadelphia recently from DUI driver were recognized for it. So just something, I see our officers when they get an opportunity and go out there, they really work hard, and they do a good job. And it wasn't only just about going out there and doing DUIs. They also had 4 hours of training each night prior to going out there that was given to them. So it's something where some of our younger and new officers got a chance to get some training too. So that was just something I was like the board to know about. And for the month, I wasn't given the opportunity with the other meetings to give the July report. Next meeting, I'll give the August report. But just some significant things. I saw that we had 8 assaults. 22 thefts in the township and 10 frauds. We also had not counting this Nighthawk, but we had 18 DUI arrests and 11 drug arrests. We handled 1,300 calls for service. Usually we handle about 1,500, so we were down. I don't know what the reason was, but we were down last month and we had 47 arrests. Something that was asked about when I met with Mr. Vollmer last time was he asked me how much does the township usually get in fine money a month. And I looked at prior reports from the last 2 years, and we average between $9,500 and $12,000 a month. It's fine money. So it's something that, just the board should be aware of, that that's how much money comes in each month for fines. So if you're wondering about court time or the officers getting any type of overtime for handling citations and arrests, that breaks out to be even. So just something you're aware of. That's all I have for this evening.
Thank you, Chief. Manager's report.
As you know, budget time is here. And what I'm hoping you'll think about doing is having public sessions. And what I've done with that in the past is I usually can break it into two. So we might have, say, the police and planning do one night and public works and administration do another night. And we would come in as the departments and talk about where we are today versus budget, where we want to be for 2023, and we'll throw in 2 more years, particularly in terms of capital expenditures. Normally at these public sessions, there is no input from the public. It's just a time for them to come and listen to hear the questions that the board is asking. There can be times for the public to speak. I've seen that happen. It works sometimes too. So I'm going to propose, not tonight, but I will let you know now, that perhaps Thursday, the 22nd of September and Thursday, the 29th of September, we can have special budget hearings as we develop the budget, with the goal of having a budget to present to you possibly on Monday, October 24th, which is a scheduled meeting date. Are you warm to that idea?
Fine.
Okay. So how this will work is I will give to these departments information on where they are so far and where they were at the end of last year. And then I will meet closely with them to develop where we think we're going to be next year. And there will be some items when it gets presented as, this is our pie-in-the-sky wish, and this is what we can eliminate should you want us to. So you have an idea of what really needs to be purchased and what we're hoping can be purchased. Okay? So at the next meeting, we can finalize public sessions for that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Betsy.
Can I ask a question? So Betsy, the 9/22 and 9/29 do not coincide with board meetings, is that correct?
Or they're Thursday nights.
Right, so we would have our board meetings, we have, do we have 2 in September because of the
12th
holiday?
and the 26th.
Right, so we have the 12th and 26th, so we would have a 9/22, which is a Thursday, and then a 9/29, which is a Thursday. Okay, thank you.
I mean, I'm willing to come out on a weekend if you want to meet on a weekend, doesn't matter.
Thanks for that update.
Okay.
Before moving to public comment, just want to just quickly ask, Counselor, did you have anything that Chad might have sent along for update for the good of the group?
Nothing additional.
Joe, you spoke a bit today. Just to remind, did you have a wish to?
Everything I have was already handled.
Chief, do you feel you had enough time on your report? Good.
Yeah, the only thing I want to add, I know we talked about this, the handbook policy, and that the township's adopting one. But I just want the supervisors to know, and I think you guys understand this in the public, that we have very strict policies in the police department. We've had them, I've been here 21 years, we're accredited, and we've addressed all these things with any type of harassment, and I mean, our policy book is this thick, and, being accredited, there's only 30 police departments in the state of Pennsylvania accredited, so something that we've had training, we do training, yearly training, sometimes 2-3 times a year. And even our mandated training for police officers have a lot of this that you guys discussed tonight. So we've been on board with that for years. So I want everyone to know that.
Thank you. Larry, anything else for the good of the group?
No.
Jennifer, you spoke. Do you have anything else? Okay, great. So public comment, non-agenda items. Before calling up our guests, I'm going to, at this point, there's still a number of public comments on the non-agenda items. you probably recognize we've exhausted the full amount of time in the beginning, so we're still going to have public comment on that agenda. I'm going to ask folks to keep remarks to 2 minutes this time, just so we can get through all of it, but because the meeting suggestion is 30 minutes total, so we've already done 38 minutes, so please keep this one to 2 minutes, each speaker. So first and foremost, I have Robert Miller.
I'm Robert H. Miller, Jr. I live at 4012 Grant Street. Unbeknownst to most members of the board, I've been faithfully and loyally serving this township as the Exeter Township representative on the Pioneer Crossing Landfill Advisory Committee since its inception 20 years ago. My service has been documented in the monthly meeting reports provided in hard copy to the township by the president, Mr. Hoover. In all good faith and conscience, I can no longer be associated with the management of this township in any way, shape, or form after the unjustified verbal abuse and total disrespect of me during the first meeting this month. Therefore, I will be resigning my position at the Pioneer Crossing Landfill Advisory Committee in the September meeting. However, if the board needs me to resign immediately, I will respect their decision. In closing, I want to thank J.P. Mascaro and Sons and Mr. Hoover for his leadership over the years. I will truly miss the experience and camaraderie over the years. I truly believe this position is critical to the citizens of Exeter Township. I would highly recommend and respectfully advise the Board of Supervisors to fill this position as soon as possible, preferably by the September meeting. In the absence of any additional disrespect, I am more than willing to assist my replacement in any way, shape, or form in order to get them up and running as soon as possible. Because I believe in the township, I believe we need a strong voice in the operation of the Pioneer Crossing landfill. I also believe there should be an agenda item provided to that representative. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Whitehawk?
Fred Whitehawk, West 47th Street. Previously, at the June 27th Board of Supervisors meeting, Supervisor Gardella expressed concern as to how the Perkiomen Streetscape Phase 2 project and both the transparency and how the entire project was handled. He was not happy with it. Prior to that June 13th meeting, at the June 13 meeting, Mr. Gardella discussed the Dr. Borja agreement and that it put the board in a bad position. 2 weeks ago, why the sudden change? Are we to assume, because of a comment made at the public agenda comments at the last Board of Supervisors meeting, that the Board of Supervisors is going to bring back Phase 1 and build a firehouse on the Promenade project area?
No.
That's what I want to know.
Nope.
And I doubt if I'll get an answer. Thank you.
I think we should give an answer.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
We're not doing
That's your
that.
answer.
Absolutely not.
Next on the agenda is Mr. Hoover. If you could finally approach and state your address.
Glenn Hoover, Birchburg. My question was, I have a question with the Promenade property. They say there was a water issue there. How did you run the car wash without water?
Talking to me?
Joe?
Oh, Joe.
I never said there was a water issue.
Mr. Hoover, if I could kindly ask you per Robert's rules, if you could direct your questions to me and I'll refer them to staff.
I'm sorry. My question was, how did they operate the car wash without a main water line to the property?
I appreciate your question. I don't.
I think I can comment, or you want to comment?
No, go ahead, go ahead.
I think what it was, Mr. Hoover, is that there was a main line that came in, and a lateral line went off to another property, and it went through our meter, or the property's meter. That's the water issue that I believe that there is. They had to separate that off because that property is not on our property, but it was getting water through our meter. That was the most recent issue with the water up there at the Promenade property.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. So I have a couple guests that already spoke. Their topic was RCC. We've heard that. And then I have another guest who had a different topic but left. So at this time, I'm going to ask for Zach Arnold, and I don't know if Kevin Orman is the same item or if you were trying to speak separately. What? Okay. And is he Zach, please? Zach, may you please state your address then when you come to the podium?
Zach Arnold, 487 Fairview Chapel Road. The Board of Supervisors is tasked with appointing a zoning officer, and at this point, the zoning officer is to serve a notice of violation of any person, firm, corporation, partnership, or other entity responsible for violating any of the provisions within the zoning ordinances of the township, of which there are multiple properties within the township that are in violation of your ordinances. Some of them are 390-22B, Part B, all outdoor storage of dismantled vehicles, automobiles, parts, and similars should be stored behind, stored in a manner so that you can't see it from public roads or other adjoining properties. 390-34I, new and used car lots should be paved, and they should be set back in a manner so that they are not directly adjacent to any roadways. 390-37Q, this is in terms of number of spaces. 390-52, outdoor storage of any kind is not permitted unless it is a part of the operations conducted on the premises subject to requirements of the prevailing zoning district. And then there's also 390-52B, in which in NC, HC, SEC, LI, and GI districts, automotive vehicles and vehicular dwellings of any type must be stored within a completely enclosed buildings unless the vehicles or vehicular dwellings are stored within a junkyard permitted by this chapter. Some of these businesses and such that are in violation would include Walmart, Service Electric, you have A to Z auto stores, auto sales. Mascaro is in violation of this as well. There's other properties to note as well, but those are just some of the big companies that are actually in violation of these.
So I appreciate your comments. That's a lot of detail at the very end of the meeting. I was wondering if I can refer for staff follow-up, though. Yep. Would that meet your expectations?
Yep, that's fine.
It's planning and zoning. So, excuse me, can I
Yes.
ask Joe?
Yeah.
So, Joe, I know this is Planning and Zoning Commission, and I know that there is at least one violation that we're aware of. There may be others then that he's bringing to our attention. So is that something, have we issued violations?
Yeah, I could check with Will Bruger. He's our zoning officer. I believe there was a notice of violation submitted. I'm not sure of which reference sections. However, I believe this gentleman is commenting on other potential violations that might occur throughout the township. My recommendation would be we can discuss with Will when he returns back to the township and investigate these.
And I know this was a topic at the last planning.
Yes, I think it goes, just so the board's aware, there is a land development or a subdivision land development plan in front of the planning commission of Mr. Ormon's property off of Fairview Chapter. Sunset Manor, I'm sorry, I apologize, Sunset Manor. No action was taken by the planning commission at this point, so the plans are being currently reviewed under our ordinances. But there's been a zoning violation that has, I believe, a notice of violation has been issued by our zoning officer. I believe that's what this gentleman is commenting on in reference to that. And my suggestion would be is we could discuss with staff and our zoning officer.
Okay. So providing those addresses and ordinance numbers.
So if you have something in those sections in writing, I know will be documented in the meeting minutes.
Yes.
We can forward that to our zoning officer.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate you waiting that long to appear as well.
Yep.
Thank you.
I'm happy to speak if you want me to talk to
I think if the follow-up meets is okay. I think that would be perfect the way Joe left it. Does that meet his satisfaction? The following up and,
I think what our agenda, if I can speak for it, was.
yeah, you can because you did sign up, but I do please need you to approach and state your name and address if you'd be as kind to.
Kevin Orman, our office is 485 Fairview Chapel Road. My goal is I want to know what the proper procedure is. So, excuse me, is it Joe? Joe, we've talked before, but so we've been issued a notice of violation. We're complying with that for a tenant that we admit got out of hand, and we're fixing it. We've, of course, as you guys can appreciate, we had to follow proper procedure to evict them, go through the attorneys because he's not complying. So you have to understand we are trying. But what is the proper procedure does your zoning officer have the authority to make decisions when someone calls in or inquires about a property? Does he have the authority to make decisions on the fly?
Joe, do you have any?
My understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, is I believe he does have the authority to interpret the zoning officer. However, an applicant has the right to appeal that decision. There is an appeal process. So if there's a disagreement with that notice of violation, I believe
That's not what I'm asking. So a notice of violation is different. We can appeal.
I know. I'm just saying what the duties and responsibilities of a zoning officer, they can make decisions and interpret the ordinance. That's what they're doing. So if you ask an interpretation, he can give you, or he or she can provide that for you.
So it's a decision, or he or she is providing their opinion?
I'm not sure what you mean by decision.
So hypothetically, if I call up and I say that I'm looking to move into a particular property, and this is what I want to do, does the zoning officer have the authority to answer the question, or should he or she say, put it in writing so that there's a trail? So what I'm saying is, we just lost a potential tenant that probably cost this township $400,000 because they called and asked Mr. Bruger a question about zoning, which multiple attorneys that I have feel as though that it would comply, and we'll go down that direction to deal with that later. But that tenant asked if their office was allowed to be in there, and storing their vehicles would be an accessory use. Will said that he thought it was not an accessory use. So they've since moved on to a different township. Does he or she have the authority to answer that question on the fly and make a decision on behalf of this board? That's what I'm asking.
Pardon me, thank you for the clarity. Yes, he does. Is the answer to your question?
Thank you.
Thank you. So at this point, that concludes public comment this evening. At this point, due to the hour, I move that we adjourn and do supervisor reports next meeting. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
No.
4-1.
4-1.